As you mentioned, has just taken everybody by storm. What you're seeing right there are brand new breaking images of what the FBI has released from surveillance video of what appears to be someone tampering with Nancy Guthrie's Ring doorbell camera. So we want to get right to this story. Andres Gutierrez with CBS has the very latest.
Law enforcement released these surveillance images and video recovered from back-end systems connected to cameras at Nancy Guthrie's home. Authorities say they show an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the cameras at Guthrie's front door the morning she disappeared on February 1st.
The fact that he's wearing a mask, covering his hands, so he was ready. He did not want to leave DNA. He did not want his face recognizable.
It's taken the technology company and law enforcement 10 days to extract these images since Guthrie's cameras were not connected to the cloud and did not save recorded images. This comes as billboards with Guthrie's picture and information are popping up in Phoenix and even in Houston.
No matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Former FBI hostage negotiator Chip Massey says the latest broad plea for help from Savannah Guthrie speaks volumes.
The fact that Savannah now has done this recent video of pleading directly to the American people, that is a big indication that they no longer right now have faith in the abductors doing the right thing for them.
The FBI has set up a 24-hour command post in Tucson and is now trying to identify the person in the surveillance images.
Typically, before they have more information, they're going to call him a subject. They're going to say, we want to talk to him. Then once they talk to him, they get more evidence together. At that point, it turns into person of interest and then suspect. That's the rung above that.
The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of the 84-year-old or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And Lauren, when you see these pictures come out, you would assume investigators have had access to these Ring doorbell cameras, the Nest doorbell camera here for a while. The fact that they're releasing them, it makes you wonder, where's the investigation at? And how broad are they now expanding this out to?
Right. I mean, it's a reminder that a lot of this information is new to us, even as quote unquote media, but, not new to the FBI. I was reading that it was sort of back-end residual data that they were able to lock or get into because essentially they said Nancy Guthrie didn't have a subscription to Ring doorbell, so you can get the live view, but she doesn't have anything that was recording beforehand.
And when you see this come out, it also reminds you that there's so many different avenues for investigators, whether we're talking about, the physical evidence that you can collect, but also talking about the digital footprints that we all leave behind, be it on our own property or somebody else's property. So obviously a lot more on this story as it goes on.
This is, I would think, stretching into day 10. This is a woman who has a pacemaker. She's got severe heart issues. So just sort of harping on why, again, this is detrimental. They have said that if she does not have medicine in the days leading, or I should say after her disappearance, this could become fatal.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's bring our focus closer to home. Evacuations. We want to go to Lake County briefly. Evacuations were placed in Eustis. This was because of a brush fire that was something that the fire rescue were trying to figure out in the area. There were some 44 homes near a county road, Purple Martin Road in Eustis, roads that are shut down. They were shut down earlier. Officials have asked anyone who can avoid that area to do so. They've also said all of this, again, is because of a large brush fire in the area. We know at this point, deputies, fire crews on the scene at this hour, and we also have our News 6's Talisa Hampton heading there so that we can bring you some live pictures. We'll be checking in with her shortly to get an update.
And as we go from Lake County to Sumter County, this is one of those ones that we've been kind of following for the last couple of hours. Some questions that definitely need to be answered. Specifically, who took ordnance from the United States military? How did they get a hold of it? Now what's going to happen? It's all playing out up by the Villages. That's in Sumter County. If you're familiar with this area, obviously kind of with three different counties, Marion County, Sumter County, Lake County, all come together. But this is on the Sumter County side of the Villages. Sheriff's office got a call just after 11 this morning from a home in the Villages that someone who called in to say what appeared to be military explosive items. Now, deputies evacuated nearby homes, called in the bomb squad, which you've got to imagine that's going to be standard protocol here when we're dealing with devices like this. Investigators went ahead and determined that the bombs were confirmed to have been stolen from the military. The scene, of course, was cleared. Everyone was able to get back into their homes. The case now being handled over to the FBI because, again, when you deal with something like this, it is I mean, we've covered this before here. If you're familiar with the area around Orlando International Airport, a lot of it used to be, back when it was Army Air Corps, used to be testing for some of this. They would find unexploded ordnance out there. And then every once in a while, you'll find somebody at a garage sale will get a hold of, Granddad brought home this grenade. And it's like, is it inert? Is it, what are we dealing with? And so you call in the bomb squad, the EOD, and they come in and assess the situation, figure out what are we dealing with. In this case, ordnance taken from the military, just showing up in a neighborhood. A little scary out there in Sumter County.
I mean, I'm just glad you highlighted that this, while it can be interesting, is not something you want to play around with. You find something that potentially could be an explosive that could be detonated. You need to call bomb squad. You need to call 911 right away. So they did the right thing. It's going to take them some time to figure out.
And there's a
exactly
procedure for all of this. Yeah,
exactly.
You bring
There's
in
a
the little
protocol.
robot. It's all there. So.
Okay, so we do love our sea cows here in Central Florida, don't we?
Oh, we do.
I still haven't had a chance to see them. We did get one up close, actually, in Brevard County. There was a massive rescue near Melbourne. They had to actually dig up a huge road because apparently a little guy got stuck.
Everyone loves the sea cows. What's not to love? No natural predators. Alligators give them the right of way. They're just so gentle. They can't even harm you. If one were to swim up and start gnawing on you, be fine.
Except we can't touch them.
We're not supposed to
can't pet them.
But if they were to come gnaw on you, they can't hurt you. So anyway, Alex Cook is out in Melbourne where they're trying to fix the road because they found a manatee down there. Alex, how's it looking out there?
That's right, and it looks like they actually have fixed the road just in the last half hour. All the workers left, and you can see it doesn't even look like a manatee was ripped right out of that road behind me in the crosswalk. The storm drain, the manhole cover there, that's where they looked down and saw the stuck little manatee, about 700 pounds, a young male. 9 p.m. last night, they dug a big hole in the road and reached down and pulled that manatee out. He's now safely at SeaWorld. We had our photojournalist Charles Holmes go and get some video of him earlier and talk to them at SeaWorld about the next steps for this manatee, what it's going to take to get him back out in the wild or what needs to happen next. But down here in Melbourne Beach, the road turning into the neighborhood is still closed, but it looks like they're wrapping up and about to open that up. And you can't even tell there was just a manatee pulled out of here less than 24 hours ago.
My goodness. I think I heard earlier that they were calling him Melby for short. They were giving him a nickname. I mean, that's how much we love our manatees here in Central
Moving
Florida.
heaven and earth to save the manatee. It was a couple of years ago. You may remember downtown at Orlando, I think Orange County side, outside the city limits, a eagle was trapped in a sewer grate right on the side of the road. And, they're moving the grate, they're moving traffic
Do what you gotta
to try
do.
and save the eagle. And now the manatee down, rescued.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right, the manatee that caused this rescue is now recovering at SeaWorld. Our crews were there earlier today to check in on how the animal is doing.
So we want to get to our Mark Lehman. He actually followed up on exactly how, like you said, the manatee is doing as we speak. Let's check in and see what's happening.
Right now, that manatee is being cared for under the watch of specialists at SeaWorld. A lot of people are concerned for the well-being of the mammal after some uncertain moments during this rescue, which happened over the course of several hours last night.
It was an amazing amount of teamwork and great that we were able to do that.
Andy Garrett is FWC's Manatee Rescue Coordinator and organized this response to Neptune Avenue in Melbourne Beach. He says the manatee that became stuck in a culvert Monday night may have been there for a while.
Its belly was really sunken in and the skin was really wrinkly. My best guess would be weeks, not days, that it was in there.
A survey crew first spotting the sea cow earlier in the day, and officials believe it swam in from the Indian River seeking warmer water during last week's cold snap.
That culvert might have had some warmth and the animal just sensed that and kind of swam in there.
We watched as workers dug through the road and eventually were able to remove a manhole. Soon after, they reached the manatee, lifting it out with a crane while neighbors cheered.
It's nice seeing him being taken away in the manatee rescue truck, and he's with the best people right now.
Garrett tells us FWC is talking with Melbourne Beach to grate the culvert after the rescue. The manatee, meanwhile, is working towards recovery.
Everything works well. I think in a few months we'll be having that conversation about release.
FWC encourages anyone who sees a distressed manatee to contact them directly or local authorities. We're working to learn more about the manatee's condition and what care plans are in place for rehabilitation before its eventual release back into the wild. Mark Lehman, News 6.
Good to see the manatee on the mend. We want to double back on some breaking news we brought you at the beginning of the hour. Tylisa Hampton out in Eustis, out in Lake County, where homes were evacuated for a short period of time. The evacuation order has since been lifted. But Tylisa, you're out there, very dry conditions and very scary situation for a lot of people.
That's exactly right, Chris. You can see we're in this rural residential area, so you can see there's homes just over this way. But what you really want to look at is just right over here. You can see right there in the back, if you look real close, you can see there's smoke. So there's smoke right now, not a fire, because we know this fire has now been 100% contained, and that's from Lake County officials. Now, when we talked to them, they said it was around 94 acres that crews had to get contained. Earlier, they did say that just in an hour after the fire started, they already had it 50% contained. However, those evacuations were still put in place. Those evacuations obviously have now lifted. People can go back home now, but you can still see just a little bit of smoke back there. And then we also know that crews said that there were no injuries reported, but they wanted to make sure that the entire area was safe. And that's why they had those evacuations, which again have been lifted. So we're still working to find out more information. I did ask them, hey, do you know what caused this fire? They said not yet. However, because it's dry conditions, they're assuming that played a big part of this brush fire. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
All right, Tylisa, thank you for your hustle getting out there. Of course, we'll talk much more about these dry conditions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas coming up. For now, we'll see you on the other side of this break. News 6 at 3 continues right after this.
I'm News 6 anchor Stephen Montiero. So Lyft is rolling out a new program for teens, and Hims and Hers facing a lawsuit. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. Maribel, that lawsuit has to do with a popular weight loss drug?
It does, Stephen. In fact, drug maker Novo Nordisk is suing a telehealth provider for after it advertised copycat Wegovy treatments. Novo accuses him and hers of selling unapproved, cheaper versions of its weight loss pills and injections. The Danish pharmaceutical company wants a court to ban Hims from selling the drugs and seeks undisclosed damages. Over the weekend, Hims announced that it would actually pull the medications offline, but claims Novo is using the lawsuit to limit consumer choice. Federal regulators are also investigating. Now, Lyft is doing something different. It's rolling out a new feature designed to make young people feel more safe. Parents can create Lyft teen accounts and track their child's ride in real time. The company says only drivers who meet the highest standards will be eligible. Along with a background check, they'll need a clean driving record and positive feedback history. Each ride includes a verified PIN number and audio recording. There's also automatic check-ins for route changes. Lyft Teen is now available in 200 cities nationwide. Stephen, wow, I grew up when we didn't pin anything. We waited for our parents at the front of the mall.
Yeah, or when the lights turned on the street, you knew to get yourself home. So thanks, Maribel.
Yes.
Remember to get the latest money and consumer news anytime. Just head to clickorlando.com.
Wow.
The rideshare thing is fascinating. I have a family member who has never gotten a driver's license. Just does not want to learn how to drive, and just is like, she lives in a city like you from Boston, Philadelphia area. There's certain places in this country where you can live, and you can go your whole life never have to learn how to drive, but rideshare is here to stay.
It's the new wave. I mean, am I the only one that remembers like Life 360? I thought that was innovative, and now they're doing things so that teens specifically have new protections, which I think is incredible, considering we have done our own share of reporting of some very sketchy things that have happened in ride shares. So, mom and dad are going to be happy about that.
From sketchy ride shares to sketchy architecture.
Okay, so we've seen our fair share of some pretty major things happening in Central Florida, but it's a little more cool when it ends up on a national television show.
The first time you ever drive down I-4, you look at the building and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And then somebody taps you on the shoulder and they're like, it's empty. Yeah. It's been empty for years. And then you find out it has a nickname. Well, Catherine Silver has the rest of this.
Unfinished after more than 20 years, this office building in Seminole County, Florida became known as the I-4 this unlovely site. Do you know the answer? Here's a clue.
I-4 eyesore.
Oh my God, it's that building. I forgot what it's called.
Here's a clue. Starts and ends with a vowel.
Oh no. I don't even know.
The eyesore.
Yeah, oh, it's called the eyesore? Of course. Oh my God, it is quite the eyesore.
What did you think when you saw the clue?
I laughed a lot. It was really funny, because when you're familiar with it, and very familiar, because we've lived on both sides of I-4 looking at that building.
I didn't hear about that, but that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
just
amazing.
A little piece of local lore.
Lore, I was just going to say local lore. Perfect.
You know the I-4 eyesore, or its real name, the Majesty Building. Remember those rumors about somebody possibly moving into the first floor? We recently did a story and checked what the status is in 2026. You can read more on clickorlando.com.
The best is every time we have a hurricane, the memes of the eyesore surviving while other stuff gets destroyed, or somebody will Photoshop into like a picture of like Middle Earth from like the Tolkien series.
It's still there.
And it's still there.
It'll be the roaches and the I-4 eyesore.
Yes.
There's t-shirts about this thing. Okay, well, Catherine, thank you so much for that. We want to make sure you stick around. We have a really cool interview with a Hall of Famer up next.
The important event she's hosting, that's after this. Well, just about every day on News 6 at 3, we bring in somebody to talk about what's going on. We've got a special someone today.
Special someone with an asterisk, underlined, bolded, highlighted. We have royalty boxing Hall of Famer and former world champion Christy Martin is here with us. Can we like cue the audience applause and the crowd goes wild?
Yes. Our confetti budget was cut, but otherwise we're good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You are, first of all, we know you're a huge deal. We're going to get to the Hollywood side of you in a second, but I understand you have an event coming up that is very near and dear to you. So let's talk about that.
So February 19th at the Hilton Hotel in Altamont Springs, we're doing Champions Fighting Against Domestic Violence. We have 9 professional boxing matches. That's the entertainment. What we're doing is we're raising money for the Safe House of Seminole County and the Animal Safe House Project of Brevard County. What they do, they foster pets that can't go to the domestic violence shelter. They find a foster home for them until the families can be reunited.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
More than 2 decades in the ring, and I mean a lot of challenges along the way, both personal, professional, everything. How has that motivated you to doing what you're doing today and putting this together?
You know, I made a deal with God when I lived through being shot and stabbed. If you'll let me live, I'm going to help as many people. Actually, I said, I'll help one person before I leave this earth. And then I decided, no, I want to help one person every day. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help one person every day.
Your story is quite simply put incredible, what you have lived through, what you have overcome, and you shared it with the world, so much so that they made an entire movie about you. I mean, you had Sydney Sweeney play you. It was released this past fall. Let's talk about what was it like to see your life story on the big screen?
Pretty unbelievable. You know, I'm a coal miner's daughter from a town of about 700 people in southern West Virginia. So to be involved in that Hollywood group of people, and not just any people, Sydney Sweeney, she's like the it girl in Hollywood right now. Whether it be the it good stuff or the it bad stuff, she's it. So yeah, it was really exciting. We did a lot of stuff to promote the movie. People kind of missed the message, I think. The message is about domestic violence and just to get up off the floor. You know, that's what is important, that there's people out there that want to help you, that can help you, thus the Safe House of Seminole County. You just have to reach out. Don't stay 1 second too long.
For anyone who's seen the documentary and, of course, the movie with Sydney Sweeney, they know a little bit about your story. And you referenced it earlier, what happened out of Popka. Does that moment really give you a better, I think, better vision for what your voice can do and what it can be beyond just what you were able to accomplish in the ring?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's important. I have a lot of titles, I tell people, but the title I'm most proud of is Domestic Violence Survivor. And that's what I want to change. I want to help as many people as I possibly can to see that there's a way out. Don't stay 1 second longer than you should, than you have to. Like I said, there are people out there that want to help and that can help. So get up, get out, and look for the brighter future, because it's out there.
All right, Christy,
Boxing Hall of
amazing
Famer Christy
story,
Martin.
amazing event. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
News 6 at 3 will be right back. Stick around.
Coming up on the morning news, the debate over license plate readers.
Yeah, police all over are using them, but there's a concern when it comes to your privacy.
And our days of dry weather continue. Candace will have an update on the fire threat.
Join us for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
All right, welcome back to News 6 at 3. We want to begin with a terrifying fire that burned thousands of chemically treated railroad ties. This was a few weeks ago. It is, of course, top of mind for folks in Dunellen, and rightfully so.
And Lauren, people are concerned about the smoke that came off from
Right.
these ties burning. They're treated with a chemical that's supposed to, insulate them to a certain extent. But when they catch on fire, the smoke comes out, and people are very concerned. News 6's Alex Cook shows us what people are saying out there.
The City Council voted Monday to join Marion County's injunction against CSX Rail. They say it'll be a legal tool in case the company doesn't clean up the environment to their satisfaction. A rep from that rail company, though, says it won't be necessary, that they are here to help.
We know we're at the beginning of this remediation. And, whether we have injunction filed against CSX or Trackline or FNOR, I can speak for the company. It makes no difference. We're here to get this fixed. We are here to get this worked out.
Craig Camuso is in charge of CSX Rail's cleanup efforts. He says the Florida Department of Environmental Protection approved the company's cleanup plan Monday afternoon, and they'll begin cleaning affected soil on Tuesday. He also said the company has resumed removing thousands of rail ties since the fire. The City Council praised CSX for its transparency and communication since the fire, saying they hope to continue a good relationship. Those who came to speak at the meeting weren't so sure the company at fault should be leading the cleanup.
We have the farms watching the hen hubs. We knew this would happen. We were after you to get this stuff out, and you dragged your feet to get it out.
This is economic discrimination, and this has to stop.
Some say they and their families have already faced health effects from breathing in smoke from the chemicals in the air as the rail ties burned.
I don't need a sample. I can feel it in my lungs. My daughter can feel it. It was throughout my house. My house smells like it.
Others say they've already lost business in a town that relies on ecotourism.
I really highly suggest you guys get out your checkbook because we're about to get paid for our suffering. This is not right.
Just how bad and how long-lasting the effects from the burning chemicals will be for Dunellen remains to be seen. In Dunellen, Alex Cook, News 6.
All right, Alex, thank you for that report. I mean, it was no surprise that was going to be a heated meeting. We talk about even basic brush fires having air quality impacts miles and miles away. And you're talking about, as you mentioned, ties that are chemically treated, burn, now creating toxic, so a hazardous waste miles away, potentially hundreds of feet away from people's homes.
You see that thick black smoke billowing out, and part of the reason the fire went on so long is those ties, that once the fire gets inside of them, it's not a simple matter. If you toss water on it, it quickly extinguishes. It burns, and it sends that smoke up into the air. And so, yeah, people up there, understandably very concerned, the company up there trying to assuage fears, but it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know, and all you can see is what's happened, and that is scary to look at.
And breathing it in and feeling those impacts. So we'll likely be covering this for a while. We want to get to a story we've been watching like a hawk. I mean, I feel like every time we mention SpaceX, we get our hopes up, we go, and then it's like, oh, darn. So we are getting an update now on that massive key test for the rocket that is supposed to be launched into space. It's not actually the one you're thinking, though. So let's talk about it. SpaceX just posted the video you're looking at now. This is on social media, saying that for the first time, some fueling operations were completed for the company's new Super Heavy V3 booster. So this is the one we're referring to. This was at their facility in Texas. The post says the multi-day campaign, they tested boosters, redesigned propellant systems, a bunch of fancy stuff. We are, of course, still waiting on a date for when the massive SLS rocket will launch from our Space Coast, and that is likely the one that you are thinking about, Artemis. So over the weekend, NASA did say that some technicians were replacing two seals in an area where operators saw a higher than allowable hydrogen gas concentration. If this seems too in the weeds, folks, just understand that this is a historic mission. They've got to do everything possible to figure out what could potentially go wrong to make sure that those 4 astronauts get up into space safely. So NASA says they hope to launch this rocket carrying the Artemis 2 mission sometime next month. We're watching that. A liftoff date will only be set once the next dress rehearsal, wet dress, happens. We also told you yesterday that the crewed mission from our Space Coast, SpaceX's Crew 12 mission, that was pushed back to Friday. Liftoff for that is set for 5:15 in the morning.
Like everything else, the stakes go up so much higher when you are putting people on board. Not that a rocket having a catastrophic failure is a good thing anytime, but if it's satellites and equipment, that can all get replaced. Yes, it's a cost associated with it, but when you're putting people on there, the tolerances go to zero.
Yeah, you can't have any mistakes. You can't have any uh-ohs or whoopsies or anything like that.
All right, well, from our Space Coast to an accident that happened just a little bit south of Brevard County. This is a crash that happened, well, actually over on the other coast of Florida. Take a look at this video. The crash happened near the Hillsborough-Manatee County line yesterday afternoon. Tractor trailer making an illegal U-turn on I-75. It entered the path of a car being driven by a 28-year-old man. Two vehicles collided. The driver of the car was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Driver of the tractor trailer was arrested and charged with reckless driving involving serious injury. You may remember a semi making an illegal U-turn entered the path of a minivan last year. That crash killed 3 people. That driver was allegedly failed his commercial driver's test 10 times in the span of 2 months, and federal officials determined he entered the country illegally back in 2018. Of course, that was the crash that has since led Florida to move forward with English-only driving tests, and that is something the state just recently implemented. But again, another crash involving an 18-wheeler and what is being reported, at least from FHB, as an illegal U-turn.
So, I mean, you know, we would hear Trooper Steve say something on TV like, just don't do that. Don't be a dummy and do something like that. I mean, this costs people's lives. So if we can reiterate that, we will. Okay, downtown Orlando is going to get a facelift. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I hope you'll stick around for this.
Yeah, for decades, the city has been trying to figure out what to do with Magnolia Avenue specifically. This is a street, a lot of downtown Orlando is one-way streets. And if you've ever, I like to go running around downtown Orlando, like to jog down there. A lot of one-way streets, so it's easier for that. But, you know, it gets confusing for traffic. It gets confusing. There's links lanes, there's bike lanes, there's all this other stuff. So as News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez reports, a plan is underway to fix this one road.
Soon, Magnolia Avenue will look like this as the city prepares to bring these images to life as part of its plan to make downtown more welcoming and vibrant. Orlando is ushering in a new era for downtown.
We've been talking about this for a really long time. We started in 2014.
Commissioner Shan Rose tells me it's exciting to see the Downtown Action Plan, a research-based effort the city has been working on for over a decade, start to take shape.
This is our moment to show, like, we have an opportunity to start moving things forward and building a better downtown Orlando, and that's what we're doing.
And it begins with Magnolia Avenue. It's been a one-way since the 1950s in an effort to keep traffic moving. But now, ease of use and pedestrian-focused infrastructure is the priority.
Being able to be a walkable, bikeable city is what's been important to us. Being able to connect, being able to say I can walk down this street, you know, it's well lit. Making sure that there's enough sidewalk space for all of us to walk and go in both directions.
Limo buses won't have a dedicated lane anymore, making room for two-way traffic to provide better connections. Sidewalks will be upgraded and more street parking will be added, giving potential customers better access to small businesses like Thai Cafe.
This area is one way, so a lot of people get confused.
Limited parking, small sidewalks, and an unclear one-way design makes it difficult for patrons to pop in. So the team here is excited for the improvements.
And then now they're going to be a road direct too.
Construction here on Magnolia Avenue will be done in 2 phases, and the first phase, which started on Tuesday, is set to take about 6 months. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
I know it can be frustrating. You see those roadwork signs and you start thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to slow stuff down. But again, this was much needed for a while now.
Yeah, to make downtown more walkable, more drivable, yeah, a little bit, but make it more walkable so you can get down there and go do things downtown. It's a very good
no
step
easy
in the right
feet
direction.
going from one way to two. So there's
No
going to be some
easy
confusion.
feet.
See what I did there?
Okay. Let's go to Flagler, where we're getting an update on the pier out there. There you go. As of today, the 3 test piles were driven in. Results are being evaluated to dictate where the rest will go. 8 spans of the original pier were removed, along with a dozen timber piles. The work to demolish the old pier began last month. That came in months after preparation to replace the nearly 100-year-old pier, which was damaged back during Hurricane Ian in 2022. Construction is expected to take about 2 years to finish, but the historic Flagler Pier getting a makeover, a much needed makeover.
Yeah,
all right, Valentine's Day. I am told by reliable sources that Valentine's Day is coming up.
I hope that you didn't forget, because we need to make a call to your wife.
What do you think the reliable sources were?
Yeah, exactly. I hope the gifts are ready. This is a reminder, fellas, ladies too, don't forget about them. Yeah, it's February 14th. We are around the corner. So if you didn't go get those flowers, hopefully, you know what, it's frustrating. Look, we wanted to talk about that for our poll today. This is an opportunity for you to weigh in. If you point your phone's camera at that QR code right at the top left-hand corner, it'll get you to clickorlando.com where we can hear your voice. What would you rather receive or gift for Valentine's Day? I'm trying to see if mine is up there. I don't see dollar signs. So yeah, money is not an option.
Something in a, let's say, blue Tiffany box, perhaps?
Okay. Jewelry, 7% of you said jewelry. Flowers is still the first one.
Flowers is nice. Depends.
I don't want something that dies.
If your spouse has a green thumb, you could give them, a potted plant. They could grow it, like growing your love.
Okay.
But dinner is the best way to
Yeah.
go. Just the path to anyone's heart
is
through their stomach.
Exactly.
Yes. Go somewhere nice. Get a nice bottle of wine or whatever, tickles your fancy. Make it a nice.
Just don't forget, okay? And don't forget to take the poll again. You can scan that QR code, or you can just head right to clickorlando.com, where you can weigh in on what you'd like to get or receive, or gift, I should say, for Valentine's Day.
Cold hard cash. All right, a proposed bill to ban smoking in public has a lot of people fired up on social media. We'll take a look at your comments.
All right, we're also going to get a check of that weather forecast from meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, the dry weather, the brush fires, and the warmer weather that is making its way in.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert. No major weather kind of approaching, so we're going to ramp this stuff up. Make sure you're paying attention. I-4 east and westbound out by the attractions, routine stuff. Then those closures along the Florida Turnpike. You're going to see some shutdowns overnight. This time southbound, you'll see as you approach US 192. So make sure you're paying attention. They have some detours set up, and then a new one for you down in South Brevard County along US 192. As you approach the I-95 area, your east and westbound ramps will be closed. They do have detours set up. Make sure you're leaving the house about 10-15 minutes early just to make sure you're prepared. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
All right, welcome back to News 6 at 3. We are bringing you a live look at our Daytona Beach cam. I mean, this is gorgeous. We always like to, we want to distract you from the fact that it's incredibly dry out there. So yes, it might be a good beach day, but look, it comes at a cost. So this is major.
You are 100% right about that. It would be lovely if we can get some of that sunshine and some rain to fall with that as well. We've certainly been hearing about it the entire show and really the entire week, that the drought numbers continue to get a little bit worse. That it means for us that wildfire threat's going up. Now, the key number on this map, there's a lot of numbers going on here. It's once we get to that orange color where you cross that 500 threshold, and we're seeing that in Sumter County and Marion County. This is the daily drought index here. And 500 pretty much sets that burn ban in place. So Marion, Sumter, we're under that burn ban. Flagler, we're getting close to the 500 number. But because of that freeze, that's added the dryness factor into things that would normally still be alive but dry are now dead and also dry. So that's been a significant thing, too, that we are watching. As those numbers go up, the threat for wildfires, the extra fuel in the ground goes up as well. Now, this is going to be the temperature outlook extended to February 20th. So if you did not like that freeze that we were in for, the last 7 to 14 days, almost 2 weeks, the pattern is changing. We've already felt that outside right now, and that is going to continue to build through at least the third week of February. That orange and red on your screen, that is high confidence of above normal temperatures over the next 10 plus days, and that's something that we're going to go forward with into the weekend. The other big thing, the Daytona 500 is coming up once we get into the weekend. There is an opportunity for rain. So we're talking about where we haven't had a lot of rain, of course.
It's like 6 eggs in one hand, half a dozen in the other. We need it, but we don't need it there.
Exactly. We don't want it in Daytona, say from about 2:30 to about 7:30. And that's going to be something that we are watching closely going forward. It's going to be close towards the end. I think the race is going to start on the drier side. But once we get towards the end of the race, that's when we're going to be looking for the chance for some rain to sneak back in here. We're going to talk much more about that timeline. Again, we could use the rain as that double-edged sword, but we'd like for not to fall during the race.
No, we don't. You may or may not be everybody's best friend. So.
I would imagine not,
Jonathan, it's been great hanging out with you. Thank you. They don't let me hang out in this part of the studio during the morning. I press too many buttons. All right, make sure you download our free weather app as well. Hey, we want to talk about what our social media guru DJ has been sleuthing around on our social media pages. He's always finding some good stuff. There is a potential smoking ban that is rearing its head, and we want to see what he had to say about it.
All right, cigarette smokers, you're going to want to sit down for this one. Everybody's talking about this post on the News 6 Facebook page. More than 500,000 views. It says no more public smoking if Florida lawmakers get their way. Yeah, there's a proposal from 2 state senators that would ban smoking in most common areas across the state. And in the Facebook comments, Gary asks, will it include weed? If you read the article, you'll see it says that includes tobacco and marijuana products, but the bill does have an exception for unfiltered cigars. You'll also find the list of what the bill defines as public places in that article. The post now has more than 1,500 comments, and people are split. Nikki says, I'm a former smoker. I can respect this for many reasons, as I tried my best to keep my smoke away from others and within so many feet of any buildings. Michael says, I'm a non-smoker. However, outside is outside, and I believe people have the right to smoke outside if they please. Mandy says, hallelujah. Just because somebody chooses to smoke themselves to death doesn't mean we all want their secondhand smoke. And Joy, who's a non-smoker, says, I'm not sure this will fly. How can you do this in public places? Isn't that the whole point? Now, there's still a lot of questions here, like how would this even be enforced? And the bill still has a few committee hearings it needs to get through before it would go to a full House vote. But we want to know, what do you think? Should smoking be banned in public places? We have a poll on clickorlando.com. 56% say no. If you want to join the conversation or read more about this bill, head to the QR code right here. It'll take you to our Facebook post, which has a link to the article explaining everything you need to know.
I'm surprised there weren't more words we can't air on TV in those comments.
Oh, I'm sure there were. Having spent more than a decade covering our wonderful legislature, it's always interesting the carve-outs that somehow end up in these pieces of legislation.
Right.
Notice there, unfiltered cigars, exempted from this. So, your pack of Marlboro Reds, that's banned.
Right.
But you get a nice cigar from, let's say, I don't know, Ybor City.
And all of a sudden you can smoke it wherever you want?
Yes.
Right. Very particular language.
Curious.
Some things, ignored or omitted, so to speak. We got a really cool story after this, though. I mean, let's talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Thanks to the quick actions of a good Samaritan who just jumped in to do the right thing.
Okay, the interesting part about this is that this person not only saved one, he saved 2 people and didn't even realize it. Jamilka Gibson with our affiliate in CBS South Florida has the story.
It was just after 8 o'clock Friday morning
Logan Hayes was driving south for work when traffic on I-95 suddenly slowed near the way station before the Gatlin exit in Stewart.
We saw like everybody's brakes starting to like pop up in front of us, and as we got up to where everyone was braking, I looked over and there was just a car floating just in like the pond off the side of 95.
A single car already sinking, but no one was offering help.
I jumped out of my truck immediately and kind of started running in that direction.
Without waiting for first responders, Logan sprang into action.
Threw my hat off, ripped my hoodie off. I ripped my boots off, took like 3 or 4 like full stride run and just took like as far of a dive as I could.
Inside the car was a woman alone and shaken up as water filled the car. Logan yelled for the woman to get out. Then he helped pull her free and swam her to safety.
As I was swimming her is when I realized she was also pregnant.
Strangers rushed to keep the woman warm.
Taking off their coat, their jackets, hoodie, whatever they had.
Fire rescue transported the woman to the hospital, and hours later came news not even Logan would have expected.
I got the fiance's number, texted him. He told me that the baby was born and that the mom and the baby are both doing good and they were doing okay and that they were recovering.
Divers confirmed that no one else was in that water. Now, Logan says he's glad he was at the right place at the right time and that he'd do it all over again.
Wow, Jamilka Gibson with an incredible story. We use that phrase, right place, right time, quite often. Takes the cake, though. My goodness. Saving a pregnant woman?
Not 1, but 2 lives. I don't think we all appreciate exactly how many bodies of water are near roadways across the state of Florida. You know, it doesn't go more than maybe a couple of weeks before we hear about a car going off the road and into a retention pond, a car going off the road and into, you know, maybe a different body of water, pond or something like that, because there's so much of it around here. Some of it by statute and ordinance has to have a guardrail in front of it, but not all of it.
Right.
And that's where the real danger comes in, because if you're going at a great rate of speed and you hit that water, that's like hitting concrete.
Well, hats off to that gentleman who did that, who just simply said, I'm not going to drive by. I'm going to go figure out why that car is stuck in this body of water.
Doing the right thing at the right time. All right. You work your whole life. You're training, you're eating, you know, skinless chicken and vegetables, all the stuff I don't do. But it pays off because you finally make it to the Olympics and you get a medal, one of those sweet, sweet gold.
Which is worth a lot more nowadays.
It is. So you go get a medal. Anyway, after you get the medal, you better read the warranty on that thing. Some of the athletes are saying their medals are breaking just moments after they get them. 2 American medalists say their medals became detached from the ribbon right after the ceremony. One suggested it was, well, try not to jump while wearing the medal, but I mean, right there, you work your whole life to get one and then boom.
Do you know how angry I would be?
I don't think that this is like if you go run like a 5K or a half marathon or a marathon or something, and at the end of it they have finisher medals for everyone. And if one of them breaks, they've got extras. I don't know how many extras the Olympics has just floating around for you come up and you're like, I think it broke.
Well, let's state the obvious, the prestige of it being the Olympics. And like you said, you have trained for your entire life. You've not gone to birthday parties. You've not hung out with your friends. You've not had any carbs probably for the last 4 years. All to get the holy grail of awards, and it shatters? Yeah, no. I'm done.
Not good. But you know what? The Olympics comes around every 4 years. Well, every 2 years, summer and winter. So, next year, get another medal.
Wow.
A cold comfort. That's all I provide.
I'm speechless because I would be so frustrated.
All right, Lauren, I know you have to get ready for...
We do. We have a show coming up.
Well, you do.
I do. You're going to go home. We're also going to talk about some changes in the car buying process. Yeah, it's getting a bit more costly.
That's it.
For years, a popular consumer rule of thumb for purchasing a car provided guidelines for down payments, how long financing should be, and how much that car should cost you each month. But today, does that math still hold up? For years, financial experts have pushed what is known as the 24-10 guideline for buying a new or used car. Put 20% down, finance the vehicle for 4 years, and keep total car costs for the month under 10% of your income. But with today's sky-high prices and low incomes, that formula is breaking down. The average new car now costs about $50,000 before taxes and add-ons. Even with a strong deal and trade-in, if you're following the 20% rule, you might still be financing up to $42,000. At a reasonable 6.5% interest rate, that $42K loan will cost you about $1,000 a month. Add in gas and insurance, and your monthly car expense is really about $1,300. So, you've got your 20% down and 4-year financing. To keep that monthly outlay at 10% of your income, you need to earn almost $160,000 a year. And that's where the system breaks down. The median salary for full-time workers in the US, it's about $62,000 a year. Even with combining 2 median incomes, that doesn't fix the math. So, what are buyers actually doing? To fix 24-10, they're putting more money down, stretching loans to 6, 7, or even 8 years, and allocating much more than 10% of their income each month for transportation. Bottom line, the math isn't broken, the market is. 24-10 no longer syncs up with today's economics of low wages and high prices for new or even some used cars. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
All right, Donovan, thank you. Straight ahead, we have some new major breaking details in the case of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mother, the Today Show co-host. Plus, what parts of Central Florida, what counties are asking you to conserve water and why? And of course, we've got some beautiful warm weather on the way, but it all comes at a cost. We'll talk about all of those details straight ahead on News 6 at 4, which starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
New body camera video of a DUI arrest.
Turn around for me.
Police say this man wasn't driving a car, he was on an e-bike. We're looking at the rules of the road.
And coming up, how a new agreement between Orange County and Visit Orlando impacts you.
And we are also following a lot of breaking news. The FBI is releasing chilling surveillance images. You are looking at them right now as they search for Nancy Guthrie. But first, we're going to start off with breaking news. A brush fire in Eustis that forced several evacuations. That fire started off St. John's Lane. Crews shut down County Road 44A. This was near Purple Martin Road while they worked to get that fire under control. News 6's Talisa Hampton hustled to get there, brought us an update on News 6 at 3. Now an hour later, Talisa, what can you tell us about what they've explained happened here?
Well, Lauren, we were able to speak with homeowners whose property was burned by this brush fire. Just take a look behind me. All this ash wasn't here yesterday, but those homeowners say this fire moved so fast before their eyes. They were trying to use water hose to put it out. You can see how vast this fire got. Just look all the way back there. And also take note of these tire tracks. They say that was actually fire crews working to put out this fire. Now, also, we talk about how vast this fire is because we were able to learn that it was 94 acres that were burned and that was contained. But look, it jumped past this fence over here. You can see we're just in this backyard over here. Also, not their property. That's a different homeowner's property, but you can see it burned in that area as well. Now, the homeowners that we spoke to, their names were John and Betty Jelly. They said that thankfully they're okay, but they couldn't believe their eyes just about how vast this fire was. They said they wanted to protect their animals because right over here where their horses were, they said their animals, their horses were kind of didn't know what to do, were acting out. Obviously, they were trying to get them back into a safe spot. And they said that what happened here before their eyes is just heartbreaking.
We're not prepared to cover 5 acres with hoses. And it got within maybe 30 feet of my barn. I grabbed my horses and moved them out front to try to get them away from everything. Our fences have been taken down, of course, so that the firefighters could get back through. They've been going back and forth through the big field. But I heard there's a lot of damage. Thank God not one structure on my property has been burned.
Now, I know she just left off on it. Thank goodness that no, her property was not burned. Her house was not burned. So you can take a look. Her house is just right over this way, but also just take a look at this way so you can see how close that fire did get to her home. She says that she was actually at her back porch door and she was like concerned if that fire was going to get even closer, but she was happy crews were able to put it out. We did speak to crews. They said that just after an hour after this fire started, they were able to get it 50% contained, obviously 100% contained now. I asked them if they know how this fire started. They said they do not know yet. They're still trying to work that out, but they do believe that because it's been dry right now and this brush fire started, that might have had a big play in this fire. And then just take a look at the smoke still going right there. We haven't seen any hot spots out here. However, we have seen that smoke since we've been out here. And John and Betty, obviously they say they're just thankful that they weren't hurt and that no one else was hurt. Crews say that there were no injuries, but obviously they did warn that people not burned in their property out here because it is so dry. Reporting in Lake County, I'm Talisa Hampton. Back to you, Lauren.
Talisa, thank you so much. You and our crews, make sure you stay safe. Of course, as air quality is obviously impacted. Thank you for that report. 402 here at the St. John's Water Management District. They are declaring a moderate water shortage, again, all because of these dry conditions. This impacts Marion, Alachua, Baker, Bradford, and Duval counties. Leaders there are asking people conserve. They need you to conserve water, and they'll review the water conservation plan with you. We know the last water shortage in this area, that was 2016. So that puts it into perspective as meteorologist Jonathan Kegish joins us into how intense this is and how it's really an all hands on deck sort of issue.
It is one of the other things, too, in the video. You can see some freeze damage from the big time, the cold blast we just had, and that's making things even drier than they would otherwise would have been, even with how dry it's been just from the lack of rainfall. So I want to show you this. This is the Keach Byram Drought Index. We're going to be showing this for quite some time, but it is a daily running total of just how dry the soil is and some of the vegetation is around it. So you see these orange colors here. There's a lot of numbers on your screen. When this number gets to about 500, that's whenever burn bans start being enacted. So that's what we have going on in Sumter and Marion County. We obviously have a burn ban in Flagler County as well as we approach that. Again, the freeze allowing the officials to jump the gun a little bit over that 500 number because things are just that much drier because the vegetation has died in the freeze over the past couple of weeks. There is high pressure departing. It is keeping us on the drier side. It is giving us a little bit of extra moisture in the atmosphere, so at least the air isn't bone dry. But nonetheless, with that high pressure there, we are going to keep things dry for the next several days. Now, rain chances are on the 7-day forecast. Limited over the next couple of days. You see right here, though, Sunday, Daytona 500, the rain chances do go up a little bit to 40%. I think most of that comes late Sunday evening into the first part of Monday. We're going to take a closer look at that system. We definitely need the rain, as you just saw. Nonetheless, we could go without doing it during the race. We are going to pinpoint that part of your forecast, though, coming up at about 4:17.
Yeah, we just can't win, Jonathan. Thank you so much. But when it gets to that breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour, this is for the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy. She's 84 years old. Today, the FBI released a new surveillance video. They showed pictures apparently showing a masked person outside of her Tucson home, and they recovered these surveillance images and video, they say, from back-end systems that were connected to her cameras. So investigators say they show an armed individual, again, appearing to have tampered with those cameras at Guthrie's front door the morning she disappeared on February 1st.
The fact that he's wearing a mask, covering his hands, so he was ready. He did not want to leave DNA. He did not want his face recognizable.
All right, it has taken the technology company and law enforcement 10 days now to extract these images since Guthrie's cameras were not apparently connected to the cloud and did not save any recorded video. In the next half hour, though, we're going to hear from a former FBI hostage negotiator. He explains why Savannah Guthrie's most recent plea for help speaks volumes. And we are also following more breaking news. Investigators had to evacuate a neighborhood in the Villages. This was because they say they found stolen military explosives. I want to highlight that, stolen explosives. All of this happened near Yucatan Way. This is off Morse Boulevard. That's west of US 441 in Sumter County. Investigators say they were able to retrieve those explosives. And while the FBI plans to investigate, they did not say yet if anybody was arrested. Orange County leaders are demanding accountability from the group that uses your tax dollars to lure tourists to Central Florida. So the disagreement that has dragged on now for more than a year, it was resolved today. Your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, she's outside the commission building live where they have just finalized this agreement. Jana, what happened?
Yeah, so inside that building right behind me, they had a very lengthy discussion about this new agreement that actually kind of got a little heated between some of the commissioners. Now, this agreement was finalized just before the midnight deadline last night at around 11:13. But I mean, like I said, they're finally reaching an agreement for new terms against Visit Orlando. Today's vote was the result of an audit conducted by Orange County last year into the accounting practices of Visit Orlando. The audit claimed that Visit Orlando miscategorized some of their spending, spent tourist tax dollars on items that didn't exactly promote tourism, not classifying some tourism tax dollars correctly, and lobbying in Tallahassee without the permission of Orange County. Today, Orange County commissioners approved new guidelines to more clearly show where your money is going.
I am grateful for Visit Orlando for the transparency that's been shown during the recent audit.
This is what taxpayers expect us to do in our job, and we're not given the time to properly vet this, review it, and get all of these answers to these questions that we have, and I think it's very irresponsible for the county.
We have been going in circles and circles, and I keep saying being a good steward of the people's money is also being a good steward of the people's time. We have so many other things to address, and I think it's time to close this chapter and move forward.
Visit Orlando, in simple terms, is a group that focuses on promoting and selling Orlando as a tourist destination. I waited for the CEO of Visit Orlando today to get her thoughts on the meeting.
We have now clarified our agreement and are happy to be aligned with the county and the comptroller, and we are ready to get back to business.
So what exactly do the next steps look like moving forward for both the county and Visit Orlando? Well, the county is going to keep tabs on what exactly Visit Orlando is spending that money on. And by doing that, they're going to appoint somebody from the county level to monitor that. Of course, we'll keep you updated on what exactly they find from that monitoring. For now, live in front of the Orange County Administration Building, I'm your Orange County Community Correspondent, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Jana, thank you so much. 408 here. E-bikes, we know, have they become a hot topic, not only in Tallahassee, but in our schools, our streets, pretty much everywhere. And as they become even more popular, we're starting to see some of those problems in our very communities having to navigate this. Police, in fact, in Winter Springs just stopped a man on an e-bike this week. Get this, they arrested him for DUI. So your Seminole County Community Correspondent, Catherine Silver, she has the body camera video from this.
Go ahead, turn around for me. No. Come behind your back.
Under arrest and on an e-bike. This is body camera video from police in Winter Springs. By the time officers caught up to this man early Monday morning, they say they had already watched him fall backwards off his bike near State Road 434.
It was like a slow motion fall where he went back and just laid down for a while, got back up, rode out. We asked if he was okay. He was like, yeah. And then we followed him down the sidewalk. He was wobbly.
You just heard officers explain what they saw. This is around 3 o'clock in the morning after the Super Bowl.
Did you come from Chaos? Yeah. Watch the game?
We also just got this arrest report. It says the man was slurring his words and smelled like alcohol. Listen to what he told officers about his night.
Yeah, the problem is this right here. That's why I went up on there and I was like, boom, like right into the whatever that is. The Matrix. Hey man, I heard you pretty good, man. Yeah, pretty good.
To legit saw you wipe out, okay? So
it's right here. That's the problem right there.
I might not want to use that bike if that's the case, especially if you're a little bit intoxicated.
No.
Because I could smell something, right?
No.
No? Well, I can. You might not, but I definitely can.
We've seen DUI arrests before where drivers weren't in cars but were on wheels. Look at this video from a traffic stop in Sumter County on a golf cart. Stop! We've even seen an arrest a few years ago in Polk County where a woman was stopped on the highway riding her horse. We're asking our traffic safety expert about the rules of the road.
Anything that technically you are in control of and you're taking out on the roadway, you could be charged with DUI and, yeah, even a horse.
In the eyes of the law, penalties are the same?
Penalties are exactly the same. You would be charged with DUI.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
My goodness, Catherine, thank you for that report. Still to come, a group is going after a local city saying that they're canceling meetings on big topics. We'll tell you what you need to know coming up.
If your dryer is sticking out just a little too much and you can't push it back, chances are it's because the hose behind it is just a little bit too long. Well, I got some options for you. I'm Eric Von Anken. We're getting results at home coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Hey, I'm News 6 anchor Eric Von Anken, the handy newsman. Here is Jeff, the crafty cameraman. And today we're getting results at home in DeBary, making a new dryer fit. And we still don't need a Sawzall, Jeff. You know who we're doing this for?
Hey!
Look who it is. It's our News 6 sports director, Jamie Say.
So good to see you. Come on in.
And Ellie.
Yes.
All right, we're going to get results.
So Eric, when Jim and I bought our new home, we also bought a new washer dryer, but the issue is fitting them into our closet. Like, as you can see, this door sticks out further than this one.
I see. You can close this one, but you can't close this.
Exactly. The dryer doesn't fit, and it has to do with a hose.
Okay, we got a couple options for you.
Yeah.
We're going to see what we can do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
When you realize your arms aren't long enough and your body's not flexible enough, step one, disconnect everything and pull it out, including yourself. Oh, that's so much easier to get to. When the installers put in Jamie's dryer, they use the hose. It's just way too long. Step two is get a dryer vent that fits your dryer space. So they come in all kinds of different sizes. This one's 4 inches. This one's about 6 inches. The old one, even when it's compressed, has got to be at least 1.5 feet. This is a house hack. This is a slim fit, adjustable dryer vent for when you really have a tight space. Step 3 is connect your new shorter hose. And don't forget about the clamps that it comes with. Whichever style you end up using, put one on each end of the hose. Step 4 is put it all back, but carefully. Jeff is down there making sure that as we guide it into place, we do not pinch the hose. All right, gonna go get Jamie and Jim.
Looking good. Looking good. And
Now you gotta close the doors because that's the ultimate test.
boom. Awesome.
Never seen that before.
We got results?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I think we got results at home for the two of them. We're in DeBerry. I'm Eric Von Anken getting results. News 6.
How great is that, Eric? Thank you so much. All right, we got to talk about this forecast. It is finally, beach weather.
Yeah.
I think we were just so desperate, Jonathan, to get away from that cold snap that folks are actually, I think there's like a couple dots behind you. Some people ventured out into the wild.
Right there. Water temperature in Daytona Beach right now is a nice, mild 58 degrees.
Yeah,
It
no
is
thank you.
freezing in the Atlantic right now. That's running about 12 degrees below where it should be for this time of the year in the Atlantic Ocean. That is courtesy, of course, of our multiple cold blasts over the past 2 weeks or so. 78 degrees, the air temperature. It's feeling nice out there. The water is still a little chilly. The breeze out of the west-southwest right now helping to pump in that extra warmth. We were talking about that yesterday. It's all about the wind direction. We had the wind off the Atlantic yesterday. That's why we were held into the mid-60s. Get that wind to shift, and now we're pumping in the warmth straight up from the Florida Peninsula. 77 in DeLand right now. Good evening in Denellen. We are at 73. Groveland, we're back to 78. 78 for us in Holopaw, Palm Bay. We are hanging right near 80 degrees. Gigantic turnaround that continues really for the next 7 to 10 days. 66 by 10, warmer start tomorrow as well. We've been talking about that now after this morning, we're finally got to see the afternoon, the morning temperatures start to respond to some of the warmth. Mid-70s by 1 o'clock. We're staying in the mid-70s by 4. Again, tomorrow morning, not as chilly by far, 52 in Oviedo. Good evening in Ocala. We're back to 51 to start your day. Slipping into the 40s in Denellen. That's about it, though. We're now hanging at or just a few notches above where we should be for this time of the year. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Another very nice afternoon. Temperature is back to the mid to upper 70s, basically the same ballpark as what we're seeing today. 74 degrees is the average. We're blowing by that by about 3 or 4 degrees area-wide tomorrow. Now, we keep on talking about the dry weather. We could use some rain big time. Burn ban can continue to be in place for Polk County into Sumter, into Marion, and then also into Flagler. We're likely going to see the expansion of this if we don't get any appreciable rain over here over the next 7 days or so. We do have rain in the forecast. It's coming, but I don't think it's a ton of rain coming out of the pipeline either. Keach-Byram Drought Index, again, the higher the number, the drier the soil, and the easier it is for fires to start and spread. So we want to avoid that 500 number. That's the critical number. And we're in the 550s already in Sumter and 560s in Marion. That's running about a month ahead of schedule, at least a month ahead where we were last year at this time. So that just goes to show how dry we are. Rain is in the forecast. We're going to fast forward to Saturday now. This bigger system that we are watching for the Daytona 500. There you go, Saturday evening at 11. It's rolling across the North Gulf Coast. And then by the time we get towards race time, a few showers towards the Panhandle. There's 7 o'clock with some scattered downpours around. So there's an opportunity for this to sneak in here before the race ends. So we are keeping a very close eye on that for anyone that has plans to hang out in Daytona. 78 on Friday. Valentine's Day is looking pretty nice. Right around 80 degrees, 81 on Sunday for the 500. Temperatures back to the mid-70s on Monday. We're staying around that 80-degree threshold on Tuesday, Lauren.
Jonathan, I think you redeemed yourself with the Valentine's Day forecast. Thank you. 420 here, a farm bill is moving forward in Tallahassee, but not before lawmakers make some changes. We'll tell you what's still in it that could affect what ends up on your plate. That's next. Plus, Seminole County giving the green light on the road to connect the 417 to the Sanford Airport. How much that's going to cost taxpayers as well.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Welcome back. Florida's wide-ranging farm bill, it is now ready for the Senate floor. In fact, today the Rules Committee backed that proposal after removing a section of the agricultural disparagement law. So the language, it raised some concerns from conservationists who are backing the Make America Healthy Again initiative. That's the one from Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. A concern among those opposed to this expansion, however, is that the bill would protect manufacturers of insecticides that are used on produce.
This was muzzling MAHA. It shouldn't happen in the free state of Florida. The MAHA tenets are transparency, informed consent, and reducing chronic exposure.
So the law in place now that allows farmers to pursue damages for willful or malicious public dissemination of any false information about perishable food items not safe for human consumption. The proposed expansion, which remains in the House version, that would have gone beyond perishable food items.
How do we make sure agriculture's alive 100 years from now? So we come here to figure out how that is, and that's part of it. So we didn't get where we wanted to go today, but we're still in a good spot.
All right, so there's a lot in this bill. It also includes preventing local bans on gas-powered farm and landscape equipment. The House version of the bill that has one more committee stop before it can appear on that chamber's floor. All right, let's go to Seminole County. Residents there, your tax dollars, they'll be soon helping to pay for a new toll road that'll go to Orlando Sanford Airport. In fact, this morning, Seminole County commissioners unanimously, they approved giving $25 million to help build that 417 to Sanford Airport connector. The money comes from the penny sales tax. That's the one that means you will pay extra tax. You'll also end up paying some toll fees too. The Expressway Authority says the road is needed to reduce traffic and improve airport access. Okay, you know this one well, folks. It's a Central Florida icon. We'll talk about how the I-4 eyesore is getting national attention on TV coming up.
A group of Deltona residents is now taking legal action against the city. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, we'll tell you why they claim the city here broke sunshine law.
And of course, we are staying on top of this breaking news. Brand new clues investigators are sharing to find Savannah Guthrie's mom. Welcome back. Here we are following several top stories at this hour. In Lake County, a brush fire near Eustis that actually forced evacuations. The Florida Forest Service says the fire started off on St. John's Lane. You're looking at that area here. Crews shut down County Road 44A. This was near Purple Martin Road while they got that work done to clear this fire out of the area. Everything is contained at this hour, again, 100% under control. We go to Sumter County now. Investigators had to evacuate a neighborhood in the Villages because they say they found stolen military explosives. All of this happening near Yucatan Way off Morse Boulevard. They say they were able to safely retrieve those explosives, and we know the FBI is investigating. All right, over to Orange County. Commissioners are approving a new agreement on how your tax dollars are being used to draw visitors. Today's vote was the result of an Orange County audit claiming Visit Orlando miscategorized its spending. The county will appoint someone to keep tabs on the spending of Visit Orlando. All right, a major story at this hour. We're working on more breaking news, a possible break in the abduction case of Nancy Guthrie. So investigators, they're releasing previously inaccessible surveillance video and photos showing a masked person just outside of her home. This was in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona to be exact. Andres Gutierrez has the details from the Pena County Sheriff's Office.
Law enforcement released these surveillance images and video recovered from back-end systems connected to cameras at Nancy Guthrie's home. Authorities say they show an armed individual appearing to tamper with the camera at her front door the morning she disappeared, February 1st.
The fact that he's wearing a mask, covering his hands, so he was ready. He did not want to leave DNA. He did not want his face recognizable.
It's taken the technology company and law enforcement 10 days to extract these images since Guthrie's cameras weren't connected to the cloud and didn't save recorded images. This comes as billboards with Guthrie's picture and information are popping up in Phoenix and even in Houston.
No matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Former FBI hostage negotiator Chip Massey says the latest broad appeal for help from Savannah Guthrie speaks volumes.
Pleading directly to the American people, that is a big indication that they no longer right now have faith in the abductors doing the right thing for them.
The FBI has set up a 24-hour command post here in Tucson and is now trying to identify the person in the surveillance images.
Typically, before they have more information, they're going to call him a subject. They're going to say, we want to talk to him. Then once they talk to him, they get more evidence together. At that point, it turns into person of interest and then suspect. That's the rung above that.
The FBI updated its missing person poster to include these new images, offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Guthrie's recovery or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson.
All right, we're going to stay on top of that breaking news. We'll bring our focus closer to home. Orlando police are investigating a vandalism spree in the downtown area. This caused nearly $70,000 in damage. You are looking at new surveillance video from multiple businesses being impacted. It shows a man smashing windows, damaging vehicles, and this was last Thursday morning. Here he is. Orlando police says the man, Gene Charmant, is now facing multiple charges, including 12 counts of felony criminal mischief. Police say Charmant admitted to this vandalism. He remains in the Orange County Jail on a $20,000 bond. Well, a group is taking legal action against the city of Deltona. They say the city commission broke sunshine laws by holding a meeting that was supposed to be canceled. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed went to City Hall for some answers.
The residents were ready to speak out about a big affordable housing project that's been pretty contentious here in Deltona. Now, they thought the public hearing as part of the commission meeting was canceled as the city said, but it turns out that meeting technically did happen.
There was about 60 to 100 residents, to my knowledge, that were going to come and speak about this development, that were in opposition of it.
David Sosa is one of the residents claiming the city violated sunshine law.
The city can't put a meeting out, notice it, then cancel it 2 hours before, 3 hours before, and then call a couple commissioners, the vice mayor and the one commissioner. I feel sorry for them because now they're in the hot seat.
Their lawyer sent this notice saying they'll sue. On February 2nd, the city said the meeting was canceled for lack of quorum. But the notice argues the meeting was called to order with only 2 commissioners, directed by the city manager. One commissioner read a script from city staff to delay the consent agenda, pushing the housing discussion to February 17th. Residents say even holding that meeting violated the law. They want the housing topic removed from the agenda until it's properly advertised for 30 days again.
Put this project off, and I believe there was another agenda item on there that need to be noticed to the public with a 30-day notice.
The residents' lawyer presented their case at a special meeting on Monday. The city's attorney argued at the meeting the city commission followed the rules, but one commissioner voiced concerns.
The meeting was canceled and then called to order. As a result, I'm not comfortable voting in the affirmative on any of these items.
I came here to City Hall to try to ask the mayor or city manager why the city followed this process. I was told by their secretary they weren't available to speak to me. I also reached out to them on email and did not hear back from either of them. A city spokesperson told me that the city does not comment on pending litigation. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Molly, thank you. Let's get to a 3-car crash on the 417. This put 2 people in the hospital. You can see all of the activity here from that situation. It happened this morning on the southbound lanes near I-4. Troopers say a driver in an SUV went to switch lanes and then crashed into a pickup truck. Both of those drivers, they lost control and then hit a third vehicle. Troopers say the truck driver was not hurt. We know the drivers of the other 2 vehicles, they did have to go to a hospital. At this hour, we're told they are expected to be okay. All right, we have to get to a major feud between a mall and a gas station. All of it boiling over today when a barricade that you're looking at went up between the 2 properties. It's a long-standing gas leak at the center of all of this. Your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, explains exactly what went down.
A mall is blocking an entrance between the mall and a gas station because the general manager of the mall says the gas station is leaking and Cumberland Farms won't do anything to fix it.
For 4 years, we have been trying to get them to clean up their leaks and spills that have been going on for decades. We figured finally we're going to get their attention by blocking 2 of their entrances to our property.
I've never seen anything quite like this. The bulldozer dumps the dirt, and then another construction vehicle lays the culvert, and private security is actually here watching it all because GM Mark Frank isn't allowed to dump anything on their side of this red line. That would be on the Cumberland's property. If any critics were to say what you're doing is pretty petty, how would you respond?
Well, petty is doing nothing. We're doing something. I don't believe it's petty. I actually think it's pretty clever.
Mark told me contamination from the leaks is part of the reason why constructing the new mall here has been put on hold. 4 years ago, I reported when the city approved the modern shopping development with restaurants, apartments, and a living facility for seniors. Now Mark's hoping the city hears his complaints.
I mean, we have a lot of money riding on getting this mall complete.
Employees at Cumberland Farms didn't want to be a part of my story. But if I hear back from their corporate office in response to the leaks and what the mall's doing, I'll add that to clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, James, thank you. Well, 4:37 here in this week, we could see yet another group take off in the International Space Station, but the launch keeps getting pushed back. We've been chronicling this now for weeks. The Crew 12 launch has already been moved twice because of weather. Liftoff is now set for 5:15 Friday morning. That'll be from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, it'll carry NASA astronauts Jessica Meyer and Jack Hathaway. That'll be alongside with a European Space Agency astronaut and a cosmonaut. Now, NASA did hold a press conference about the launch yesterday.
The good news is we have good opportunities for the remainder of the week, and so we'll go ahead and launch when we're ready, when we have favorable weather.
All right, so once the group does take off, they are set to spend 8 months on the International Space Station, but they won't get the usual handoff with the Crew 11 astronauts. That's because Crew 11 ended up coming home early, remember, because of a medical issue with one of its members. Well, how about this? A piece of Central Florida pop culture recently made an appearance on a national television. The I-4 eyesore is a constant source of memes. You can't ignore them. In fact, it's become, as you know, something we all talk about really at the dinner table. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, is asking folks about the Majesty Building ending up on Jeopardy.
Unfinished after more than 20 years, this office building in Seminole County, Florida became known as the I-4 This Unlovely Sight. Do you know the answer? Here's a clue.
I-4 eyesore.
Oh my God, it's that building. I forgot what it's called.
Here's a clue. Starts and ends with a vowel.
Oh no. I don't even know.
The eyesore.
Yeah, oh, it's called the eyesore? Of course. Oh my God, it is quite the eyesore.
What did you think when you saw the clue?
I laughed a lot. It was really funny, because when you're familiar with it, and very familiar, because we've lived on both sides of I-4 looking at that building.
I didn't hear about that, but that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Just
amazing.
A little piece of local lore.
Lore, I was just going to say local lore. Perfect.
You know the I-4 eyesore, or its real name, the Majesty Building. Remember those rumors about somebody possibly moving into the first floor? We recently did a story and checked what the status is in 2026. You can read more on clickorlando.com.
My goodness. All right, Catherine, thank you. Hey, look, we know many people plan to buy flowers for Valentine's Day, but have you ever thought about the process to get them here? Well, we're going to show you how inspectors are making sure those flowers are getting here bug-free. Coming up. Plus.
This area is one way, so a lot of people get confused.
All right, major changes are coming to a downtown Orlando road for the first time in decades. We'll talk the construction that you can expect to see and how it'll make it easier to get around. That's next.
The deep freeze is long gone now. Temperatures continue to swing upwards over the week ahead. We're going to pinpoint how warm we get, and then our next shot of rain, which is right in line with the Daytona 500. We'll break down that forecast at about 4:47.
All right, Jonathan, and before we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news. That's News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then you can go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. And then, of course, you can watch the late news an hour earlier. Again, it's all tonight on News 6 Plus. And make sure you download our streaming app for free. Doesn't get any better than that, right? Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Magnolia Avenue will soon look like this. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting from downtown Orlando. These images will be brought to life by the city as it begins its first project, a part of its downtown action plan, as they try to make the downtown area more vibrant and welcoming. Orlando is ushering in a new era for downtown.
We've been talking about this for a really long time. We started in 2014.
Commissioner Shan Rose tells me it's exciting to see the Downtown Action Plan, a research-based effort the city has been working on for over a decade, start to take shape.
This is our moment to show, we have an opportunity to start moving things forward and building a better downtown Orlando, and that's what we're doing.
And it begins with Magnolia Avenue. It's been a one-way since the 1950s in an effort to keep traffic moving. But now, ease of use and pedestrian-focused infrastructure is the priority.
Being able to be a walkable, bikeable city is what's been important to us. Being able to connect, being able to say I can walk down this street, it's well lit. Making sure that there's enough sidewalk space for all of us to walk and go in both directions.
Limo buses won't have a dedicated lane anymore, making room for two-way traffic to provide better connections. Sidewalks will be upgraded and more street parking will be added, giving potential customers better access to small businesses like Thai Cafe.
This area is one way, so a lot of people get confused.
Limited parking, small sidewalks, and an unclear one-way design makes it difficult for patrons to pop in. So the team here is excited for the improvements.
And then now they're going to be a road direct too.
Construction here on Magnolia Avenue will be done in 2 phases, and the first phase, which started on Tuesday, is set to take about 6 months. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, Steph, thank you. Let's get back to this forecast. It was like a tale of 2 forecasts today. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis, let's talk about the warm-up that we see. But my biggest question, how long can we expect this to last?
I think this is extended. I think we've really turned the corner. Not saying that the chill is completely over yet until we get into the latter stages of spring, but for the next 7 to 10 days, we are looking at the warmth. And you see the entire southeast corner of the United States carved out by that warmth that's surging back through. You can download that free News 6 weather app again to stay up to date with the forecast. We're back to the mid-70s in Dallas, 78 in New Orleans, 78 degrees for us in Orlando, and that continues to build back up. Finally breaking out, at least for parts of the Northeast, in the deep freeze, where they're back into the mid-50s in Columbus and into Pittsburgh. So a complete pattern change shift as expected that has sent the warmth from south to north and the cold air back to the west. There is that area of high pressure. This is keeping us on the quieter side for now. This is going to stay in play for the next couple of days and then eventually try to break down as we work our way into the weekend. Rain chances staying painfully low over the next few days. There's a little spike on Sunday, of course. That's the Daytona 500. We're watching potentially rain to sneak in here before the race wraps up. I think the first part looking okay right now. Rain chances continue into Monday. I'm optimistic that most of Monday is going to be on the drier side, but whatever comes our way, it is much needed. I don't think we're going to take a gigantic bite out of the drought, but this is the situation we've gotten ourselves into over the last 30-some days of the year so far, 40 days. There we go with the difference. We're running about 2.5 inches, give or take, area-wide below normal in the rainfall department. And there's not a ton coming away, maybe up to 1/4 inch as we go forward into Sunday through early Monday. There's a live look outside, beautifully blue skies at Port Canaveral with our Launch Credit Union camera this evening. Air temperatures hanging tight into the 70s right now. The breeze on the lighter side. Tomorrow morning, even warmer. 50 degrees to start in Wildwood. We're hanging around 51 in DeLand, also 51 in Palm Coast. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to climb back into the mid-70s. In Daytona, 74, New Smyrna. Groveland, good evening. We are at 77 degrees. Then we will turn our attention to this building system here. This is on Saturday. I think Saturday for us is going to be on the drier side. It's going to be warm. Note the red arrows out ahead of this system. We really crank up the breeze out of the south to pump in that warmth and a little bit of extra moisture in the atmosphere. And then there goes the storm system itself. That's going to be 7 o'clock. We're really going to start to watch for the rain chances increase late Sunday afternoon and then continue into the overnight hours of Monday. So here's kind of the first look here as we start working our way towards race time on Sunday. 2:30, of course, is the race start. We're back to the upper 70s by 4 o'clock, and that's whenever the rain chances start to go up a little bit. By 6 o'clock, they're hanging around 20%. So again, we're going to be watching that closely over the next few days as that storm comes together to our west. Upper 70s on Friday. We're back to around 80 degrees on Valentine's Day, looking very nice for any outdoor plans. 40% shot for rain on Sunday, Lauren.
Well, speaking of Jonathan, we're going to talk about Valentine's Day, especially for those of us who are planning to buy flowers. We'll tell you what inspectors are doing as we speak to make sure those flowers that are flown in from so many other countries don't harm us here in Central Florida.
Coming up on the morning news, the debate over license plate readers.
Yeah, police all over are using them, but there's a concern when it comes to your privacy.
And our days of dry weather continue. Candace will have an update on the fire threat.
Join us for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
Oh, I've run into so many of these. What is considered an abandoned vehicle? All right, under Florida law, an abandoned vehicle is defined under Florida statute. So 316.194 as one left unattended on a public roadway or right-of-way, all right? So in general, if a vehicle is left within about 30 feet of the roadway for more than 48 hours, it can legally be removed as abandoned. But here's the key part of this. That 48-hour window does not protect you on highways like I-4. So on limited access highways, if your vehicle is unattended on the shoulder, the Florida Highway Patrol or the Florida Department of Transportation can have it towed immediately if it's considered a safety hazard. And on I-4, that threshold pretty low. We all experience it. So what's the best move? Hazards on, call for help. You can do star FHP 347 on your phone. And if it's safe, stay with the vehicle, because on I-4, there's no guaranteed grace period, and leaving it is how your car disappears. If you've got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/asktroopersteve.
All right, Steve, thank you. Hey, remember Valentine's Day is this Saturday, and many people plan to go out and get flowers. But have you ever wondered where those flowers come from? Well, more than 90% of all of those plants do come into the United States. They're flown through Miami. Teams of inspectors, too. They've got to sift through boxes and boxes of flowers during one of the busiest plant processing weeks of the entire year. So these specialists are working to make sure that the bouquets are all bug-free. Leaders say moving that many flowers from Colombia, it takes several agencies working together to make sure these flowers arrive in time for your holiday.
That coordination starts 4 to 5 weeks, months before the season, of how many flights, what days that we need to fly, and then all the weather as well, because it's not a product that you can produce in an industry like other ones.
Yeah, they are busy. Miami International Airport, it is a main gateway for these kinds of deliveries as well. Meantime, if you're looking for some date ideas, we've got you covered. We put together some things to do right here in Central Florida, and you can find it in this story on clickorlando.com. So again, you have no excuse to say you did not remember about the date, about the day, or the flowers. All right, News 6 at 5 is coming up next. Anchor Eric Von Enken is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
And by the way, Lauren, the best way to ruin Valentine's Day is finding bugs in your flowers. Don't do it. We're staying on top of a developing story this afternoon. A brush fire forcing evacuations in Lake County earlier today. Coming up, an update on where that fire stands and everything we've learned so far. And he was a pioneer in the space industry. Now you can own pieces of his travels. The auction's selling off mementos from Orlando astronaut John Young. Your forecast is just minutes away. Don't forget you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this beautiful look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We're back in 2.5 minutes.
A manatee rescued from a storm drain ripped out of the road right here in Melbourne Beach. We'll have the latest on how he's doing today.
Plus, competency questions. Why a man convicted of first-degree murder could have his case heard again. And
he is the only astronaut from Orlando, period.
He helped define the space program. Now, pieces of his legacy are being shared with the public. You're watching News 6 at 5. Good afternoon to you. I'm Eric Von Anken alongside Lauren Melendez. Also developing tonight, immigration advocates want Orange County to file a lawsuit against the state to try and clarify the county's obligations to ICE. But the county attorney's office is pumping the brakes on that idea, at least for now.
So we got to get to our Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, joining us live outside the county administration building. So commissioners received a very long, updated list on several topics. This is all related to ICE enforcement. Mike, the Orange County mayor, as we understand it, is not ruling out a lawsuit.
Yeah, not ruling out a lawsuit. I'll get to that in a second, but there were a lot of things brought up in that meeting today, guys. There was the current number of ICE inmates at the county jail brought up, the reimbursement rate for housing ICE inmates at the jail, ICE's interest in converting a warehouse into a detention facility, something we've covered at length, and yes, a potential lawsuit. But the county attorney's office and County Mayor Jerry Demings pumped the brakes on going forward with a lawsuit, at least for now, but they did not rule it out. At least 3 commissioners appeared interested in the county suing the state to challenge the state constitution and determine what exactly state statute means when it says local agencies must use, quote, best efforts to support the enforcement of federal immigration law. Last week, Demings told ICE that effective March 1st, the county would start capping the number of ICE detainees with no local charges at the jail and would not allow ICE to rebook a detainee after their 72-hour hold had expired. The county attorney's office is paying close attention to whether ICE complies with these limits. If not, the county may be on firmer legal footing for a potential lawsuit.
The key issue is timing. What has changed is that we are moving away from theory toward developing real facts. This is not about avoiding litigation. It's about ensuring if the county does go to court, it does so at the right time, for the right reasons, and with concrete factual records.
Again, so no lawsuit has come to fruition. There was no vote taken today, and ICE still has until March 1st to comply with Demings' letter, what he outlined there. The jail numbers, though, are down. As of today, there were 22 inmates with ICE detainers inside the jail with no underlying local charges. That is a dramatic decrease, guys, from last week when we saw that number at 134. For now, we're live outside the Orange County Administration Building. I'm your Orange County Community Correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
All right, Mike, thank you for that update. 5:02 here. In just a moment, I want you to look over my shoulder. Take a close look at this image, this masked individual. We are following this breaking news. Investigators just releasing those photos. This is of a, quote, subject they say are from the night Nancy Guthrie went missing. Now, she's the mom of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie. So the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Office posted these images. They show a masked person, again, wearing a backpack. They say they were taken on the porch of Nancy Guthrie's Tucson, Arizona home. The FBI says the photos show an armed person appearing to have tampered with the home security camera, and they are trying to confirm his identity. Now, the search for Nancy Guthrie is now in its 2nd week. FBI offering a $50,000 reward for any info that would lead to her recovery or conviction in this case.
A Volusia County man convicted of first-degree murder is trying to get a new trial tonight. Jakari Webb was convicted in the 2022 murder of Talon Mann in DeLand. Officers say Webb and Mann were, quote, engaged in an online relationship. Well, court documents show during Webb's trial, a judge never officially ruled if Webb was competent, even though an evaluation was done. Documents show that there was reason to believe he may not have been competent, which is now raising some questions. So Webb's attorney is asking for a judge to determine if he was, in fact, competent or grant a new trial. We will, of course, let you know what happens.
And developing now at 5, a brush fire near Eustis. That's under control. This was after it forced evacuations earlier this afternoon. We're going to take you to that scene. The fire starting off of St. John's Lane. Crews there had to shut down County Road 44A. This was near Purple Martin Road as they worked to get that fire down. News 6's Talisa Hampton went there. She fills us in.
Well, we're in a homeowner's backyard, and you can see, just take a look at how vast this brush fire was in Lake County. It affected as far as the eye can see with all of that ash, but it also jumped properties. You can see where that fire just spread out this way, and we have heard from officials with Lake County Fire. Now, they have said that it started around 1. However, after an hour, this was a fast-moving fire, but after an hour, they were able to contain 50% until they were able to contain 100% of this fire. And we were able to speak to John and Betty Jelly, who live in this property of the home that we're just standing out in front of. Now, they have said that thankfully they were okay, but because this was a fast-moving fire, they were trying to work as hard as they could to put it out on their property by using water hose. And they said that they could not believe their eyes, and it was a very scary experience.
So emotionally, how are you feeling now?
I'm upset. I mean, I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight, knowing that my field has burned. And
one of their concerns was their horses. They made sure that they could protect them, put them in the barn, and make sure they were okay. But one of their concerns was also their house, because you can see where this fire line stopped at. But just take a look over here, because this is the back of their house. So it got pretty close. And fire crews have said that they're still investigating how this fire started. However, they do believe that the dryness played a part in how quickly this fire was moving, which is why they're urging people in this area to not burn outside. And they also said they will be still monitoring this area. Reporting in Lake County for News 6, I'm Talisa Hampton.
All right, Talisa, thank you. Warmer temperatures are here. We just saw that comes at a cost. But in fact, the local farm is still feeling the fallout from the cold. So a GoFundMe that is posted for Green Flamingo Organics there in Oak Hill. This fundraiser says the cold wiped out almost 90% of their crops. The post says it'll take months for them to be ready to harvest again. They also added you can pay $25 to adopt a row of plants, $50 for a bed, and $100 for a greenhouse section. Right now, the Post has raised nearly $6,000 of their $15,000 goal.
Florida's wide-ranging farm bill is now ready for the Senate floor. Today, the Rules Committee backed the proposal after removing a section on the agricultural disparagement law. So that language had raised concerns from conservationists backing the Make America Healthy Again initiative of Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. A concern among those opposed to the expansion is that the bill would protect manufacturers of insecticides used on produce.
Any law that prohibits that or chills free speech in the process goes against both the federal objectives of MAHA as well as the wonderful state objectives that Casey DeSantis and Surgeon General Ladapo have been leading.
The law in place now allows farmers to pursue damages for willful or malicious public dissemination of false information about perishable food items not safe for human consumption. The proposed expansion, which remains in the House version, would have gone beyond perishable food items.
We want to see Florida agriculture for the next 100 years be successful. And there's parts and pieces in there that will help do that.
The bill also includes preventing local bans on gas-powered farm and landscape equipment. The House version of this bill has one more committee stop before it can appear now on the chamber's floor. If you have been in Orlando for a while, you've probably heard of or driven down John Young Parkway, right?
This is probably one of my biggest introductions to Central Florida. I thought, how long does this area stretch? Okay, do you actually know the history behind the name, though? Next at 5, what astronaut John Young means to Orlando and where you can get a piece of his history tonight.
Temperatures really warm, back to the upper 70s and lower 80s. We keep this for some time, but we are in search for some much-needed rain. It is on the 7-day forecast. We'll pinpoint when that potentially arrives, coming up at about 5:17.
And after that, ahead at 5:30, an arrest for DUI on an e-bike. The body camera video we just got showing you exactly what happened.
That story is wild. Make sure you tune in for it. You're watching News 6 at 5 as we bring you a live look at Port Canaveral from our Launch Credit Union camera. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
An update now to a story we brought you last night that a lot of you are still talking about, a manatee on the mend. Today, after rescuers saved that creature from a storm drain in Melbourne Beach yesterday. News 6's Alex Cook went back today. Alex, behind you looks almost like it didn't happen.
Yeah, you can barely tell that there was even a manatee-sized hole ripped out of the concrete road right here, but just a few hours ago, there was. Work crews just finished covering that up. A Melbourne Beach police officer told us that a survey team was doing a check of the drain here, lifted the manhole cover, and saw that manatee tail flopping around in the drain. And that's when they called Florida Fish and Wildlife, and the rescue operation was on.
News 6 was on scene as Melbourne Beach Fire Rescue pulled the 400-pound, 7-foot-long manatee from the storm drain. They dug a hole in the road, making that hole to pull him out. And he won a free trip to SeaWorld, where the manatee experts are taking a good look at him today.
We're cautiously optimistic that he's going to be making good strides here in our rehab center.
Mallory McCormick at SeaWorld says he's scuffed up and lost a lot of weight from being trapped in that storm drain. They've got him in a medical pool, getting used to deeper water, and most importantly, giving him plenty of food.
Incredible story. That is awesome that he was able to be spotted, that they called the FWC hotline, that FWC was on site to be able to help with the rescue, and that we were on call to be able to have the intake here last night and be able to watch, even just from last night to this morning, the progress that he's made.
That journey started on the west side of Melbourne Beach at the Indian River. The manatee likely entered the storm drain here.
Now I'm here on beautiful Melbourne Beach, just a few blocks east of where that manatee was found. You can see the ocean behind me. The manatee was facing some cold waters, so entered that storm drain trying to get warm and got stuck in the middle.
Today, the city's work crews filled that hole and reopened the road.
Back out here live, that road is all open and there's no sign that this was even a problem. The manatee himself, as you heard SeaWorld say, should be in good shape. They're not sure exactly how long his recovery will take. He needs to eat a lot of food, and then when he's at a healthy weight, they'll see if he's ready to be released back into the wild. Live in Melbourne Beach, Alex Cook, News 6.
Most people in Central Florida recognize the name John Young. That's because it's on a parkway. But it's actually the way producer Robert Brewer and I take into work every day. News 6 is located on John Young Parkway. But long before this road carried drivers across Orange County, John Young carried the United States into a brand new era of space exploration.
And the shuttle has cleared the tower.
John Young is an Orlando native. He is the only astronaut from Orlando, period.
Captain John Young wasn't just part of the space program. He helped define it.
John Young was Mr. Astronaut.
He was the astronaut.
He is the only astronaut to fly in Gemini, Apollo, and Space Shuttle. He is one of the 3 men to go to the moon twice.
Off the ground, T-minus 10.
And if those credentials aren't enough, consider this. When NASA launched the space shuttle for the very first time without a test flight, they chose Young to command it.
America's first space shuttle.
The world watched on April 12, 1981, as the Orlando native led STS-1, a mission unlike anything ever attempted.
Never before, never since. It is a reusable spacecraft, so they had to have someone to fly it, and John Young was the man.
NASA trusted Young because of his experience and his reputation for precision and safety.
And that's a good picture of John coming down. Like John Young's not going to wait for doctors.
Now, pieces of that legacy are being shared with the public in an upcoming auction.
These are the patches that he wore on his spacesuit on Apollo 10. These flew to the moon, flew back. He was the command module pilot. On the back, he wrote, "I certify that these 4 patches were on my Apollo 10 pressure suit when I went to the moon," and it's signed John Young.
In a space program built on courage, calculation, and risk, John Young stands apart.
There's only 24 men who have gone to the moon. There are only 12 men who have walked on the moon.
And only one from Orlando, a man whose legacy stretches from Gemini to Apollo to the space shuttle, and forever into space history. On John Young Parkway, Ginger Gadsden, News 6.
And absolutely incredible. Really great story from Ginger.
And by the way, if you thought John Young was just a road, it's okay. Yeah. I did too when I got here 22 years ago. It's okay. Yeah, I found out.
So much history in our backyard. We're always learning. We had a great history lesson. How about a science lesson right now?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. It was good.
And we
Speaking
are
of good,
up.
meteorologist Jonathan Kegas with a good day.
Yeah.
Nice warm up.
Fantastic. That freeze, what freeze? It
Yeah,
is
what
long
freeze?
gone. Rear view mirror for sure. We are all the way up from here, and we continue to warm going forward over the next 7 to likely even 10 days. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. Air temperatures into the 70s across the board under the clear skies. The breeze at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, but it has shifted. We were talking about this yesterday, that we had the easterly breeze keeping us into the low to mid 60s along the coast. Now it's out of the south and southwest. So we're pumping in everything that is warmed up by the sun across the peninsula and sending it back to the beaches as well. Mount Dora, good evening. We are at 76. Ocala, we're at 73. Denellen, we are at 72 degrees. Miko, hope you're doing well tonight. We are back into the lower 70s as well. Now tomorrow morning, here's the other part of this. We are going to start to warm up the mornings a little bit. Today was relatively chilly, but now we're going to get back to where we should be, if not even a notch or two warmer. We're at 55 in Orlando, 52 degrees in Oviedo when you start your day tomorrow. Now here's a look at the afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Same ballpark as today, and I think we're going to hold steady into the mid to upper 70s, borderlining 80 degrees for the next several days. That's basically right where we should be, a few notches above that. We're at 77 tomorrow in Wildwood. We're at 74 in Palm Coast. Melbourne, we're back to 74. I think a few puffy clouds bubbling up with the warming of the day as we have started our big-time pattern change we were advertising last week. It's all because of this guy here. You see that clockwise swirl. That is a nice big chunk of high pressure in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. The orange colors representing the warmth as well associated with that, and that starts to push everything back up towards the north closer to us. So we are tapping in to some of that tropical air again as all the cold stuff retreats a little bit further to the west. Now, this little dip in the jet stream, you see that counterclockwise flow, that is going to work its way across the North Gulf Coast. This is the upper level component to the system that we are watching for the upcoming weekend. Ahead of that, though, it's going to be very, very warm. Temperatures over the next 10 days staying at least in the mid to upper 70s. Taking this out further, there was the weekend again. A little hiccup, if you want to call it that, behind the system on Sunday into Monday. We only fall this time, though, back to the mid 70s. And then beyond that, look at that, we're heading to the mid to even potentially upper 80s by the time we get into the middle part of next work week. So that chill is long gone for now. We're at 77 on Thursday, again 78 on Friday. Valentine's Day looking fantastic. Nice and warm through the afternoon, gorgeous in the evening, 81 degrees on Sunday, of course. That is the Daytona 500. We're watching that for those increasing rain chances. 40% shot, especially for the back half of Sunday. I'm going to have the latest modeling for you when it comes to that system that we are watching coming up at about 5:47, guys.
We got some racing to do, Jonathan.
We do.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. If you are looking to buy a car, are some of the rules changing?
Getting a lot more.
I'm Donovan Murray. For years, consumer experts have pushed guidelines about how much you should put down on a car, how many months it should be financed, and how much that vehicle should cost you each month. It's called 2410. And coming up, I'm going to tell you why those rules are out of date.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert. No major weather kind of approaching, so we're going to ramp this stuff up. Make sure you're paying attention. I-4 east and westbound out by the attractions, routine stuff. Then those closures along the Florida Turnpike. You're going to see some shutdowns overnight, this time southbound. You'll see as you approach US 192. So make sure you're paying attention. They have some detours set up and then a new one for you down in South Brevard County along US 192. As you approach the I-95 area, your east and westbound ramps will be closed. They do have detours set up. Make sure you're leaving the house about 10-15 minutes early just to make sure you're prepared. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
For years, a popular consumer rule of thumb for purchasing a car provided guidelines for down payments, how long financing should be, and how much that car should cost you each month. But today, does that math still hold up? For years, financial experts have pushed what is known as the 24-10 guideline for buying a new or used car. Put 20% down, finance the vehicle for 4 years, and keep total car costs for the month under 10% of your income. But with today's sky-high prices and low incomes, that formula is breaking down. The average new car now costs about $50,000 before taxes and add-ons. Even with a strong deal and trade-in, if you're following the 20% rule, you might still be financing up to $42,000. At a reasonable 6.5% interest rate, that $42K loan will cost you about $1,000 a month. Add in gas and insurance, and your monthly car expense is really about $1,300. So, you've got your 20% down and 4-year financing. To keep that monthly outlay at 10% of your income, you need to earn almost $160,000 a year. And that's where the system breaks down. The median salary for full-time workers in the US, it's about $62,000 a year. Even with combining two median incomes, that doesn't fix the math. So, what are buyers actually doing? To fix 24-10, they're putting more money down, stretching loans to 6, 7, or even 8 years, and allocating much more than 10% of their income each month for transportation. Bottom line, the math isn't broken, the market is. 24-10 no longer syncs up with today's economics of low wages and high prices for new or even some used cars. For Dollars and Cents, I'm Donovan Myrie.
An update this evening from Orange County leaders on how they are spending your money.
So an audit last year claimed that Visit Orlando was miscategorizing spending. Coming up, we'll tell you what leaders agreed to today to make sure you know where your tax dollars are headed. Plus,
new body camera video of a DUI arrest.
Go ahead, turn around for me. All right.
Police say this man wasn't driving a car, he was on an e-bike. We're looking at the rules of the road.
and we are bringing you a live look at Daytona Beach. Yeah, it's a day maybe not to dip your toe in, but to take a stroll. We'll talk about the warm-up on the way and how long it'll stick around with Jonathan Kegas right after this. Welcome back here at 5:30. So glad you're with us. I'm Lauren Melendez.
I'm Eric Vodek, and you are watching News 6 at 5, and we're following several top stories right now. Immigration advocates want Orange County to consider filing a lawsuit against the state to try and clarify the county's obligations to ICE. However, the county attorney's office is pumping the brakes on that idea, at least for now. At least 3 commissioners appeared interested in the county suing to determine what exactly state statute means when it says local agencies must use, quote, best efforts to support the enforcement of the federal immigration law.
Let's go to Lake County here. A brush fire near Eustis that forced evacuations. The Florida Forest Service says the fire started off St. John's Lane. We know crews had to shut down County Road 44A. This is near Purple Martin Road as they work to get that fire under control. At this hour, we can confirm it is now 100% contained.
SeaWorld is caring for a manatee after rescuers saved it from a storm drain in Melbourne Beach last night. We had this live for you on clickorlando.com as it happened. Yesterday, fire crews cut open that road to pull out the 400-pound creature. Today, the city's work crews filled in that hole and reopened the road almost like it didn't happen. SeaWorld says it is not sure how long it will be taking care of this manatee. Also at 5:30, an agreement reached in Orange County on how to spend your money.
All right, you got my attention. So an audit last year, it claimed that Visit Orlando miscategorized their spending. And now commissioners, they've approved new guidelines to more clearly explain, like you mentioned, where your money is going. We want to get to your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, live outside the commission building where there was an agreement, Jana. And you said at times it got a little heated.
Yeah, that's right, guys. I mean, right inside that building, that's where the commissioners met today to discuss this new agreement. And like you said, Lauren, it definitely got a little heated at points, but, you know, at the end of the day, they were able to reach this agreement. Now, it was finalized right before their midnight deadline yesterday at 11:13. So I'm sure they were all a little tired after reviewing it. But like you said, they finally reached this agreement to come to new terms with what Visit Orlando can do with your money. Today's vote was the result of an audit conducted by Orange County last year into the accounting practices of Visit Orlando. The audit claimed that Visit Orlando miscategorized some of their spending, spent tourist tax dollars on items that didn't exactly promote tourism, not classifying some tourism tax dollars correctly, and lobbying in Tallahassee without the permission of Orange County. Today, Orange County commissioners approved new guidelines to more clearly show where your money is going.
I'm grateful for Visit Orlando for the transparency that's been shown during the recent audit.
This is what taxpayers expect us to do in our job, and we're not given the time to properly vet this, review it, and get all of these answers to these questions that we have, and I think it's very irresponsible for the county.
We have been going in circles and circles, and I keep saying being a good steward of the people's money is also being a good steward of the people's time. We have so many other things to address, and I think it's time to close this chapter and move forward.
Visit Orlando, in simple terms, is a group that focuses on promoting and selling Orlando as a tourist destination. I waited for the CEO of Visit Orlando today to get her thoughts on the meeting.
We have now clarified our agreement and are happy to be aligned with the county and the comptroller, and we are ready to get back to business.
So what exactly are the next steps now that this agreement has been finalized? Well, the county will continue to keep an eye on Visit Orlando's spending. And the way they're going to do this is appoint somebody from the county level to monitor the spending moving forward. Of course, we at News 6 will continue to watch to see what exactly they find. We'll bring you those updates on clickorlando.com. For now, live in front of the Orange County Administration Building, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Jana, thank you for getting those answers. 5:33 here. E-bikes are a hot topic in Tallahassee. We've been talking about them for quite some time. And not just there, in our schools, on our streets, of course, as they become even more popular. And we are seeing some of those problems in our communities as they try to navigate them. Police in Winter Springs, in fact, just stopped a man on an e-bike this week. They arrested him for DUI. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, she's got the body camera video.
Go ahead and turn around for me. Come find it back.
Under arrest and on an e-bike.
Yeah, I know.
This is body camera video from police in Winter Springs. By the time officers caught up to this man early Monday morning, they say they had already watched him fall backwards off his bike near State Road 434.
It was like a slow motion fall where he went back and just laid down for a while, got back up, rode out. We asked if he was okay. He was like, yeah. And then we followed him down the sidewalk. He was wobbly.
You just heard officers explain what they saw. This is around 3 o'clock in the morning after the Super Bowl.
Did you come from Chaos? Yeah. Watch the game?
We also just got this arrest report. It says the man was slurring his words and smelled like alcohol. Listen to what he told officers about his night.
Yeah, the problem is this right here. That's why I went up on there and I was like, boom, like right into the whatever that is, the Matrix.
Yeah, man, I heard you pretty good, man.
Yeah, pretty good.
To legit saw you wipe out, okay? So
It's right here. That's the problem right there.
you might not want to use that bike if that's the case, especially if you're a little bit intoxicated.
No.
Because I could smell something, right?
No.
No? Well, I can. You might not, but I definitely can.
We've seen DUI arrests before where drivers weren't in cars but were on wheels. Look at this video from a traffic stop in Sumter County on a golf cart. We've even seen an arrest a few years ago in Polk County where a woman was stopped on the highway riding her horse. We're asking our traffic safety expert about the rules of the road.
Anything that technically you are in control of and you're taking out on the roadway, you could be charged with DUI and, yeah, even a horse.
In the eyes of the law, penalties are the same?
Penalties are exactly the same. You would be charged with DUI.
In Seminole County, Catherine Silver, News 6.
These 4 astronauts are now waiting until Friday to launch to the International Space Station. NASA's Crew 12 mission was pushed back yet again due to weather concerns. This mission was originally set to take off tomorrow, we told you. After the delay, mission managers said that they would try Thursday for liftoff. Well, then they announced this morning they're waiting an extra day. The issue is landing weather in case they need to put the capsule down in the middle of the Atlantic from here all the way to Europe. The crew is set to be on the ISS for several months. When they do finally get there, we will bring you the launch live if it goes, set for Friday at 5:15 a.m. And that other major mission we're waiting on will not go until at least March. Artemis 2 will send 4 astronauts further than any humans have ever gone into space, but right now they're dealing with a major hydrogen leak on that giant moon rocket. So we're keeping track of every update. They're trying to figure out that leak. Got full coverage of that launch, of course, when it happens, but still a long way to go. Lauren?
Well, immigration officials have faced some very tough questions about President Trump's national crackdown on undocumented immigrants. And this is their first time facing lawmakers since 2 U.S. citizens were killed in Minnesota last month. CBS News' Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
The leaders of ICE and U.S. Customs and Border Patrol faced questions Tuesday from the House Homeland Security Committee about the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
From January 20th, 2025 through January 20th, 2026, ICE has conducted nearly 379,000 arrests.
It's their first appearance before lawmakers since federal agents fatally shot Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis.
Mr. Lyons, will you apologize to the family of Renee Good for being called a domestic terrorist by the president and his leadership?
No, sir.
Will you apologize to the family of Alex Preddy for also being called a domestic terrorist?
Sir, again, I'm not going to speak to any ongoing investigation.
The immigration officials testified that protesters are obstructing operations and creating a deadly environment.
Why is it that there is so much tension in Minneapolis, St. Paul right now?
Because paid agitators are actively trying to stop law enforcement action.
Democrats on Capitol Hill are demanding significant ICE reforms before they agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security, with funding set to lapse at the end of the week.
How many government agencies, Mr. Lyons, are you aware of that routinely kill American citizens and you still get funding?
Ma'am, I'm not going to entertain that.
Of course you're not. Exactly. Republicans have warned that a DHS funding lapse will hurt the country.
Shutting down DHS makes America less safe and negatively impacts thousands of federal employees like those at TSA and CISA.
Democrats' proposed ICE changes include restricting immigration agents from wearing masks and requiring them to display ID. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Not all traffic violations are the same. Some are moving, of course, and some are non-moving.
Exactly. So we wanted to know how you can handle both and what the differences are. So we went to our Trooper Steve as he explains each kind of violation for you today on Trooper Steve on Patrol.
The one thing none of us like to receive is traffic tickets. And there's always something I don't think about it because it's part of my language, but when you receive a traffic ticket, there are two specific types. There's non-moving traffic violation and moving violation. And there's a incredible difference between a moving violation and a non-moving violation. One being the price of that ticket and the consequences that follow, but the differentiating factor is the actual violation. So that's what I just want to break down quickly with you guys today, is what is the big difference between a moving and non-moving traffic ticket. Anytime that the vehicle tires are in motion and a violation is committed by the driver, that 99.999% of the time is a moving violation. Anything that you're not intentionally or physically or accidentally doing behind the wheel would be an administrative violation, a non-moving violation, right?
All right, so to learn more about the moving versus non-moving violations, you can head to this article on clickorlando.com, and you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on Patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
A downtown improvement effort is finally coming to life in Orlando.
All right, the city has been working on it for over a decade. They're trying to improve this area.
Coming up, we got a look at the new construction starting today on Magnolia Avenue, trying to help congestion for anyone who takes this street. You know it. We'll be right back.
We are waiting for some rain, and off the west coast of the United States, a couple of swirls. One out here way out over the Pacific. Those two systems are going to combine and send some moisture in our direction in time for potentially the Daytona 500. We're going to break that part of your forecast down at about 5:47.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Welcome back here. We got to talk about some major changes coming to Magnolia Avenue in downtown Orlando. This has been a long time coming. They're going to be the first in decades.
Yeah, so the plan is to make it easier to navigate for everybody who goes through this area. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez was there as construction officially began on the street's redesign.
Soon, Magnolia Avenue will look like this as the city prepares to bring these images to life as part of its plan to make downtown more welcoming and vibrant. Orlando is ushering in a new era for downtown.
We've been talking about this for a really long time. We started in 2014.
Commissioner Shan Rose tells me it's exciting to see the Downtown Action Plan, a research-based effort the city has been working on for over a decade, start to take shape.
This is our moment to show, we have an opportunity to start moving things forward and building a better downtown Orlando, and that's what we're doing.
And it begins with Magnolia Avenue. It's been a one-way since the 1950s in an effort to keep traffic moving. But now, ease of use and pedestrian-focused infrastructure is the priority.
Being able to be a walkable, bikeable city is what's been important to us. Being able to connect, being able to say I can walk down this street, it's well lit. Making sure that there's enough sidewalk space for all of us to walk and go in both directions.
Limo buses won't have a dedicated lane anymore, making room for two-way traffic to provide better connections. Sidewalks will be upgraded and more street parking will be added, giving potential customers better access to small businesses like Thai Cafe.
This area is one way, so a lot of people get confused.
Limited parking, small sidewalks, and an unclear one-way design makes it difficult for patrons to pop in. So the team here is excited for the improvements.
And then now they're going to be a road direct too.
Construction here on Magnolia Avenue will be done in 2 phases, and the first phase, which started on Tuesday, is set to take about 6 months. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Let's get back to this forecast. You guys don't normally let me out this late, so I'm excited.
Yeah, usually you're asleep by now, right?
I should be in bed. So now that I'm up,
The sun's out.
I was going to say, and we've got good weather. Oh,
Yep.
You better
Yeah,
put
and
me away.
The warmth is going to surge for the rest of the week. So this is the week to be into the afternoon and through the evening. There you go. You see it carving out the southeast parts of the southern plains, all that orange color from the low 70s to Dallas, back to the low 70s in Nashville, the entire deep south thawing out from the crazy about 2-week stretch where that cold air kind of ruled the roost across the south and southeast. High pressure is departing from central Florida. That will eventually allow our next system to come through, but that's not until we get into the weekend as we move into Sunday through Monday. But what this is doing is shifting our wind direction. Yesterday it was off the Atlantic. That's why we had the cooler day along the coast. But now you see those lines, those green lines right out of the south and sometimes southwest pumping in the warmth. There you see it right out of the south across parts of Louisiana and the deep south Gulf Coast. That is helping to pump up those temperatures across the western side of the Gulf anyway. 40% shot for rain comes our way on Sunday. This is going to be because of that departing area of high pressure and then our next storm system already trying to get going off the California coastline, which we desperately need. Again, most of us have picked up less than an inch of rain so far since the new year began. Of course, it is the dry season. It is expected to be dry, but even in terms of the normal side of things, we are way below the normal dry period, almost 3 inches below normal in Daytona Beach, approaching that as well in Melbourne, about 2.5 inches below normal in the rainfall department across most of Central Florida. Here's a live look outside. Gorgeous shot here. Port Canaveral Launch Credit Union camera this evening. We have air temperatures nice and comfy out there under a mainly clear sky. Now tomorrow morning, we don't fall this much. We were talking about this yesterday, that starting tomorrow morning, we would really start to see the morning temperatures respond to some of that warmth kind of pushing up from our south. We're starting our day at 50 degrees in Wildwood. Some of us may still want the light jacket out there, of course. We're at 52 in Titusville, 54 in Melbourne, but nothing frigid coming away. For that, here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
We're back to the mid to upper 70s tomorrow. Titusville, we're at 76. New Smyrna, we are at 74 degrees. Rain chances at 0%. That is likely going to change once we get into the weekend. We're going to fast forward to Friday and eventually take you back to Saturday. There you go with our developing storm system kind of skirting the North Gulf Coast. That's 11 o'clock on Saturday evening. I think Saturday, Valentine's Day, is looking very nice. We are going to be very warm out ahead of this system, and we should be on the drier side. It's the Daytona 500 that I'm watching very closely here. There's the system coming through. You see 7 o'clock. Of course, race starts at 2:30. I think as we get towards the back half of the race, we're going to start to watch for at least a chance for some rain to increase. I think the first half is looking good. Certainly, if you're out in Daytona earlier before the race, we're looking pretty good as well. But nonetheless, the second half of the race, that still has my attention right now, watching that storm come together closely. 78 on Friday. We're hanging around 80 on Valentine's Day. 81 for the 500. Rain chances right now at 40%. And then back down into the mid-70s, which is right where we should be for this time of the year on Monday, guys.
And I don't know what's more important, Valentine's Day or the 500.
Well, and as I told him, he redeemed himself when he said it was going to rain on the race because, you know, we want our flowers, ladies.
Depends who you ask.
Exactly. Thank you. Had to hit the nail on the head for us.
Yeah.
All right, still to come, we're going to head to Deltona where there's a major controversy taking place.
People in the community say they didn't get their chance to voice their opinions because they say a meeting they thought was canceled was still held. Coming up, why they want to take action against the city and why the city says they followed the rules.
Coming up on the morning news, the debate over license plate readers.
Yeah, police all over are using them, but there's a concern when it comes to your privacy.
And our days of dry weather continue. Candace will have an update on the fire threat.
Join us for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
A group of people in Deltona are taking legal action against the city.
So they say the city commission broke sunshine laws by holding a meeting that was supposed to be canceled. Let's get right to our Volusia County community correspondent, Molly Reed, who went to City Hall for answers.
The residents were ready to speak out about a big affordable housing project that's been pretty contentious here in Deltona. Now, they thought the public hearing as part of the commission meeting was canceled as the city said, but it turns out that meeting technically did happen.
There was about 60 to 100 residents, to my knowledge, that were going to come and speak about this development that were in opposition of it.
David Sosa is one of the residents claiming the city violated sunshine law.
The city can't put a meeting out, notice it, then cancel it 2 hours before, 3 hours before, and then called a couple commissioners, the vice mayor and the one commissioner. I feel sorry for them because now they're in the hot seat.
Their lawyer sent this notice saying they'll sue. On February 2nd, the city said the meeting was canceled for lack of quorum. But the notice argues the meeting was called to order with only 2 commissioners, directed by the city manager. One commissioner read a script from city staff to delay the consent agenda, pushing the housing discussion to February 17th. Residents say even holding that meeting violated the law. They want the housing topic removed from the agenda until it's properly advertised for 30 days again.
Put this project off, and I believe there was another agenda item on there that need to be noticed to the public with a 30-day notice.
The residents' lawyer presented their case at a special meeting on Monday. The city's attorney argued at the meeting the city commission followed the rules, but one commissioner voiced concerns.
The meeting was canceled and then called to order. As a result, I'm not comfortable voting in the affirmative on any of these items.
I came here to City Hall to try to ask the mayor or city manager why the city followed this process. I was told by their secretary they weren't available to speak to me. I also reached out to them on email and did not hear back from either of them. A city spokesperson told me that the city does not comment on pending litigation. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
This is a story that captured a lot of hearts and minds. A manatee, we told you, stuck in a storm drain.
A little bittersweet. It took ripping up a road to make that rescue, but we do have an update on how the Sea Cow's doing ahead at News 6 at 6.
I've never seen anything quite like this. The bulldozer dumps the dirt, and then another construction vehicle lays the culvert.
I don't believe it's petty. I actually think it's pretty clever.
All right, the mall manager swears he's not trying to be a bad neighbor, so New at 6 will tell you why he's blocking 2 entrances to the gas station right next door.
And an otter, of all things, called in to help investigate what happened to a local missing mom. The crucial role this animal is playing underwater in the search for answers in a cold case. There's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. We'll be right back. You're watching News 6. A fast-moving brush fire burns dangerously close to homes.
Yeah, I was concerned that our barn was going to catch, and if that did, everything would have gone, I think.
What officials say was fueling the flames.
Why is heavy construction equipment blocking an entrance between a mall and a gas station? I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero. I speak to the general manager who's complaining this gas station is leaking and Cumberland Farms won't do anything to fix it.
And a local street patched up less than 24 hours after a rare rescue. We're checking in on that manatee pulled from a hole. You're watching News 6 at 6. Good evening to you. I'm Eric Von Anken. We begin in Lake County, where evacuation orders have now been lifted for our neighbors in part of Eustis. So the Lake County Sheriff's Office says a fast-moving brush fire was threatening homes in this area. So this is the St. John's Lane area. It broke out around noon. Law enforcement says it got to be about 10 acres before they got a handle on it and got it contained. News 6's Tylisa Hampton went out there to check on neighbors, and they told her these flames got a little too close for comfort.
We're not prepared to cover 5 acres with hoses, and it got within maybe 30 feet of my barn. I grabbed my horses and moved them out front to try to get them away from everything. Our fences have been taken down, of course, so that the firefighters could get back through. They've been going back and forth through the big field. But I heard there's a lot of damage. Thank God not one structure on my property has been burned.
Very glad to hear that. No injuries have been reported, but yeah, that got close. Our news desk has been monitoring these fires in Central Florida. We've counted at least 9 actively burning at this moment. Jonathan, the freeze made this drought even worse. All of the vegetation drying out to a crisp.
And that's the part that's a little different this time. It's not always that we get a widespread killing freeze like what we saw about a week or so ago, and that is adding literally fuel to the fire. Also, of course, it has been very, very dry. That was the main component. You had the freeze on top of it. We were keeping tabs on the drought and fire situation with the Keach Byram Drought Index. This gets updated every day. It's basically the average of the soil across each one of our counties, and it comes out to a number. When you get to that 500 number for perspective, that's when you start seeing those burn bans come. So we are way above that number in Sumter, Marion, way ahead of schedule from last year as well. 446 is the number in Flagler. Of course, we also have the burn ban going forward, the freeze preempting that 500 number because things are just so dry. We're doing all right, relatively speaking, in parts of Seminole and Orange. We'd like to see that a little bit lower, but that's really the spot that is doing okay, relatively speaking. There are the current burn bans in place. Marion's a voluntary one. We have Sumter County in Polk County, then, of course, Flagler County as well. No real rain in sight, although we do increase rain chances a little bit as we get to the back half of your weekend. We'll talk about that part of your forecast coming up at about 6:17, Eric.
And we will see you then. Thank you, Jonathan. This is Yucatan Way in the Villages. Earlier today, law enforcement swarmed a home for a call about explosive devices being found in that house. As soon as Sumter County deputies got there, they immediately started evacuating surrounding homes. The bomb squad was eventually able to confirm the explosives they found were stolen from the military. The scene is now clear, but, well, probably like you, we got a whole bunch of questions we're asking, including where exactly were these devices found and if anyone's going to face charges. And of course, where did these explosives come from? We do know the FBI is now investigating. When we get word, we'll pass it on to you. Now to a feud between a mall and a gas station in Brevard County. So this boiled over today when a barricade went up between the two properties. At the center of it all, a long-standing gas leak. Your Titusville community correspondent James Sparvero explains how this is impacting the community there.
A mall is blocking an entrance between the mall and a gas station because the general manager of the mall says the gas station is leaking and Cumberland Farms won't do anything to fix it.
For 4 years, we have been trying to get them to clean up their leaks and spills that have been going on for decades. We figured finally we're going to get their attention by blocking 2 of their entrances to our property.
I've never seen anything quite like this. The bulldozer dumps the dirt, and then another construction vehicle lays the culvert, and private security is actually here watching it all because GM Mark Frank isn't allowed to dump anything on their side of this red line. That would be on the Cumberland's property. If any critics were to say what you're doing is pretty petty, how would you respond?
Well, petty is doing nothing. We're doing something. I don't believe it's petty. I actually think it's pretty clever.
Mark told me contamination from the leaks is part of the reason why constructing the new mall here has been put on hold. 4 years ago, I reported when the city approved the modern shopping development with restaurants, apartments, and a living facility for seniors. Now Mark's hoping the city hears his complaints.
I mean, we have a lot of money riding on getting this mall complete.
Employees at Cumberland Farms didn't want to be a part of my story. But if I hear back from their corporate office in response to the leaks and what the mall's doing, I'll add that to clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Immigration advocates want Orange County to file a lawsuit to try and clarify the county's obligations to ICE. But the county attorney's office is pumping the brakes on this idea, at least for now. Your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valente, is live looking into this. Mike, you were inside today's commission meeting when commissioners got a long update on a bunch of topics related to immigration enforcement. Break this down for us, please.
Yeah, Eric, lots to break down. And Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is not ruling out a lawsuit against the state seeking clarity about the county's obligations as far as it pertains to ICE, but he doesn't exactly seem eager to go forward on one, at least right now. That's despite the fact that there were dozens of advocates inside the commission meeting today, and at least 3 commissioners who appeared very willing to go ahead and push for more action.
I'm here to urge you to file the clarification lawsuit to find out your legal obligations to work with ICE.
My community is living in fear.
I am here to ask you to file the clarification lawsuit.
We're tired of this, so we got to take action.
This can't just be a decision that because of political pressure.
That's not what I'm doing. This isn't about, I don't have a political interest here at all. I'm probably the only one up here who doesn't.
Commissioners Tuesday having a lively discussion after the Chief of Corrections and the County Attorney's Office briefed Commission on several immigration-related matters. Here's some of what we learned. Orange County Corrections Chief Luis Quinones says that as of Tuesday, there are 22 inmates inside the jail with ICE detainers and no local criminal charges. That's down from 134 last week. The same week, Mayor Jerry Demings told ICE the county would start capping the number of ICE inmates with no local charges by March 1st. He also told the agency the county would not allow ICE to rebook the same immigrant after their 72-hour hold expired. Quinones said that as of January 31st, there were 84 inmates who were rebooked over the past 90 days. 4 of those inmates each booked 8 times. Today, he says, none of the ICE inmates without local charges are rebookings. Commissioners touted that as progress, but suggested that the county has not exhausted all its options.
It's time for us to file some form of a suit.
At the end of the day, we want to be in a position where if we go into litigation, we win.
You heard from Commissioner Kelly Martinez Semrad there. She's one of the commissioners pushing for the county to file suit to determine what a state statute means when it says local agencies must use their, quote, best efforts to support federal immigration enforcement. But as you heard, Demings and also a representative from the county attorney's office say that they believe they need to be on firmer legal footing. For example, if ICE does not comply as of March 1st with the outlines that Demings put forward in his letter last week about the capping the number of inmates and so forth, then that could give them the grounds it takes to file a lawsuit. But again, that's yet to be determined. For now, we're live outside the Orange County Administration Building. I'm your Orange County Community Correspondent, Mike Valente.
This is complicated and ongoing, Mike. Appreciate that. I know you'll stay on top of it for us. Thank you. We have a breaking traffic alert out of Sumter County for you. A car fire on I-75 is blocking all but one southbound lane. This is a live look at our Florida Department of Transportation camera where you can see what it's doing to traffic. We can't easily zoom out here, but you got to believe that this backs up for perhaps several miles. This is right near mile marker 314. That's near the exit for County Road 48 in Bushnell. Troopers say avoid that section if you can, or if you know somebody heading home, let them know. Tonight, a local street is already patched up. This is less than 24 hours after a rare rescue. Crews ripped up the street there so they could rescue the creature right there in that sling on your screen. A manatee that got stuck in a storm drain under the street. Tonight, the manatee is getting the care it needs at SeaWorld in Orlando. Meantime, News 6's Alex Cook is in Melbourne Beach trying to figure out how this happened in the first place.
It all looks pretty normal out here now. You can barely tell that just a few hours ago, there was a manatee-sized hole here in the road ripped out in the concrete. Now, Melbourne Beach police officer told us that a survey team was checking out the storm drain, lifted up this manhole cover, looked in, and saw that manatee tail flapping around. So they called Florida Fish and Wildlife, and the rescue operation was on.
News 6 was on scene as Melbourne Beach Fire Rescue pulled the 400-pound, 7-foot-long manatee from the storm drain. They dug a hole in the road, making that hole to pull him out. And he won a free trip to SeaWorld, where the manatee experts are taking a good look at him today.
We're cautiously optimistic that he's going to be making good strides here in our rehab center.
Mallory McCormick at SeaWorld says he's scuffed up and lost a lot of weight from being trapped in that storm drain. They've got him in a medical pool, getting used to deeper water, and most importantly, giving him plenty of food.
Incredible story. That is awesome that he was able to be spotted, that they called the FWC hotline, that FWC was on site to be able to help with the rescue, and that we were on call to be able to have the intake here last night and be able to watch, even just from last night to this morning, the progress that he's made.
That journey started on the west side of Melbourne Beach at the Indian River. The manatee likely entered the storm drain here.
Now I'm here on beautiful Melbourne Beach, just a few blocks east of where that manatee was found. You can see the ocean behind me. The manatee was facing some cold waters, so entered that storm drain trying to get warm and got stuck in the middle.
Today, the city's work crews filled that hole and reopened the road.
Now, the experts at SeaWorld say they're not sure exactly how long it's going to take to treat the manatee. It depends on how much he eats to get back up to his healthy weight before they put him back into the wild. But in the meantime, his medical pool at SeaWorld is way more spacious than this storm drain he was stuck in for so long. In Melbourne Beach, Alex Cook, News 6.
Melby was very lucky, Alex. Thank you. One of the most recognizable roads in Central Florida is named after the only astronaut from Orlando. How you could get your hands on several items that were part of his historic career. Plus,
good evening. We're covering that major new clue in the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mother, a masked, apparently armed person at her door the night she disappeared. We'll have an analysis of the video and the new message from Savannah ahead on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Tonight, a tiny otter, of all things, is playing a crucial role in the more than 2-year-old search for a missing mom in Lake County. You're probably wondering how, right? Well, first, let's talk about the search. This is for Nicole Baldwin, a mom of 3 who was last seen at her Mount Dora home back in 2023. Police say Baldwin left all of her things behind, including her phone, purse, and shoes. The Mount Dora Police Department confirms to News 6 that the otter, named Splash, here's his picture, is assisting in search efforts. They say he's trained to detect underwater scent by releasing air bubbles that carry that scent to the surface. So this helps identify areas of interest for divers and investigators. We're working now to figure out exactly where Splash has searched in relation to the Nicole Baldwin case. As soon as we get an update, we'll let you know.
Most people in Central Florida recognize the name John Young. That's because it's on a parkway. But it's actually the way producer Robert Brewer and I take into work every day. News 6 is located on John Young Parkway. But long before this road carried drivers across Orange County, John Young carried the United States into a brand new era of space exploration.
And the shuttle has cleared the tower.
John Young is an Orlando native. He is the only astronaut from Orlando, period.
Captain John Young wasn't just part of the space program. He helped define it.
John Young was Mr. Astronaut.
He was the astronaut.
He is the only astronaut to fly in Gemini, Apollo, and Space Shuttle. He is one of the 3 men to go to the moon twice.
Off the ground, before. T-minus 10.
And if those credentials aren't enough, consider this. When NASA launched the space shuttle for the very first time without a test flight, they chose Young to command it.
America's first space shuttle.
The world watched on April 12, 1981, as the Orlando native led STS-1, a mission unlike anything ever attempted.
Never before, never since. It is a reusable spacecraft, so they had to have someone to fly it, and John Young was the man.
NASA trusted Young because of his experience and his reputation for precision and safety.
And that's a good picture, John, coming down. Like John Young's not going to wait for doctors.
Now, pieces of that legacy are being shared with the public in an upcoming auction.
These are the patches that he wore on his spacesuit on Apollo 10. These flew to the moon, flew back. He was the command module pilot. On the back, he wrote, "I certify that these 4 patches were on my Apollo 10 pressure suit when I went to the moon," and it's signed John Young.
In a space program built on courage, calculation, and risk, John Young stands apart.
There's only 24 men who have gone to the moon. There are only 12 men who have walked on the moon.
And only one from Orlando, a man whose legacy stretches from Gemini to Apollo to the space shuttle, and forever into space history. On John Young Parkway, Ginger Gadsden, News 6.
Gorgeous evening out there tonight. On the warmer side, of course, we're talking about this warm-up. You can see the reflection of the sun going down on the ocean. Gorgeous here in Daytona Beach. It's a little bit warmer today for us along the beach due to this one key component. We were breaking that down yesterday. Out of the west-southwest now rather than off of the Atlantic. Air temperatures got back into the mid to upper 70s today just after 6:15 in the evening. We're talking about it feeling like being in the lower 70s. Denellen, we are at 68 tonight. Groveland, a nice comfortable 74. Melbourne, we're at 71 just up the road in Cocoa Beach. We are tuning in at 68 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we're starting things off a little bit warmer. Most of us in the 50s now, a couple of notches above where we should be. And the warm-up continues. Mid-60s by 10. We're jumping into the mid to upper 70s once again. Same ballpark is where we were again this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, again, starting things off right around 50 in the Villages. May slip back to the upper 40s across parts of northern Sumter County into Denellen as well. 50 degrees in Wildwood. Mims into Titusville. Good evening. We'll start tomorrow in the low 50s. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Very nice, very comfortable again. Mid-70s for us into Winter Garden. We're back to the upper 70s. Apopka into Mount Dora. We are at 76. 74 in Cocoa Beach. Rain chances still painfully low. They're going to be around 0% until we get into the weekend. Obviously, there's something pretty big happening this weekend, the Daytona 500. Latest modeling on the storm system that I'll be keeping a close eye on. This is Saturday, 11 o'clock now. Storm system getting going, kind of skirting the North Gulf Coast. Saturday looking great. You see these red arrows here. That is the warmth that is going to surge up out ahead of it. So we're talking air temperatures in the lower 80s. Race, of course, gets underway at about 2:30. There's 7 o'clock in the evening with some scattered downpours around. So I'm watching this closely. I think the first part of the race looks pretty good. It's the second half that might try to sneak in here. So watching that closely. Of course, that rain that comes, I don't think it's a ton. It is much needed, so we will take what we can get. You see the heaviest rain should stay across parts of Arkansas, back towards northern Georgia, into the Carolinas, potentially 1/4 of an inch-ish, give or take, Sunday night into Monday with that system coming through. Again, I don't think it's going to bust the drought by any means, but we will take what we can get. Air temperatures hanging tight into the upper 70s over the next couple of days. Jamie Say is shaking her head at me. I'm so sorry. I know race fans, don't yell at me. 80 degrees on Saturday for Valentine's Day. That's looking nice. And then there's that 40% shot for rain. Jamie, we talked a few days ago.
I know.
2 weeks ago. I was like, it's Daytona 500. Of course, they'll be expecting rain. It's been rough.
Got my fingers crossed that
Me too.
that the rain will be delayed till late Sunday night.
That's what we need.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking racing because we're 5 days from the Daytona 500, right? But coming up, we're talking about the kind of racing on 2 feet instead. A Kissimmee grandmother's love of running has taken her to all 50 states and to 5 continents. And this marathoner is not done running mile after mile. Her awesome story and amazing goal coming up next. Welcome back to News 6. So there are amazing people, inspirational athletes who live in Central Florida. I went to Kissimmee to meet this goal-setting grandmother of 8, a woman who doesn't just go the extra mile, a woman who goes 26.2 miles.
Gloria Vasquez's footwear of choice is not a pair of flats. It's a pair of running sneakers.
Days after she ran a half marathon, the 74-year-old grandmother sat down with me. Gloria, tell me about your love of running.
My love of running is for me to feel good, to keep in shape, and to run out my problems.
A runner since she was a little girl, Gloria has done full marathons, 26.2 miles in all 50 states, including the biggest, New York City and Boston. She's run marathons on 5 continents, stopping for this picture in Australia. In total, she's done 96 marathons and has more finish lines to cross.
When I run in the marathon, I just relax and enjoy the scenery, and thank God that I'm healthy and I enjoy everything.
What is the emotion, the feeling like when you cross the finish line of each of these marathons?
I don't know, it's such a good feeling. It's a good feeling that I cross and I'm not exhausted.
Gloria's goal is to run 100 marathons in her lifetime. So 4 marathons to go. When did you set your goal to run 100 marathons in your life?
When I finished the 50 states. So when my kids said, "So Mom, so now what?" I said, "I'm thinking about running 100 marathons." "Really, Mom? 100 marathons?" Yeah.
When do you hope to accomplish that goal?
I'm hoping to probably in the next 2 years, because now I think I shouldn't do more than 2 marathons a year.
That's usually 2 more than everybody else is doing. Best wishes to Gloria. She is amazing. So Orlando City Soccer is unveiling its uniforms tonight. And here's a little sneak peek. This jersey is part of the Lions' new Sunken Treasure kit. It's a nod to Florida's Treasure Coast. Orlando City kicks off on February 21st at home against the New York Red Bulls. Finally, a well-known golfer is going to be wearing garnet and gold. Today, Charlie Woods, the son of Tiger Woods, announced on Instagram that he's committed to Florida State. The younger Woods is a junior in high school in Palm Beach. He's helped the Benjamin School win 2 state titles in the last 3 years. We've seen Charlie Woods compete with his dad right here in Orlando at the PNC Championship. So safe to say Florida State is getting a really good one.
Your marathon runner, Jamie, was so cool. So she usually does 6 a year.
She's done 6 a year. She's cutting it down to 2. She is wonderful. Go Gloria.
2 more than everybody else,
Yes.
as Jamie said. We'll see you again at 9. Bye. That was a great story.